Partner, are you available?
Just a second, sir.
Okay.
Johnny. Johnny.
Hello?
Hi, Ken, just a second. Yeah, hold on. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Huh?
Okay.
We're in Kahaluu.
Yeah, I'm gonna do things a little bit different here.
That's right. And I recognize that.
Oh,
Okay. Okay, real quick, board members, for those of you who did not attend the installation ceremony a few weekends back, before Chair Pro Tem Makainai calls the meeting to order, I'm gonna have you guys do your oath of office real quick. So if you guys can all repeat after me. Ken, I posted it on the screen so you can follow along also. And
Yeah.
repeat after me. Oh, there, Ian.
come on, sir.
Okay, and then when you guys are ready, I'm gonna have you raise your right hand.
Oh,
Awesome. I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that I will faithfully support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America,
that I will faithfully support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Hawaii,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Hawaii,
the charter and laws of the city and county of Honolulu,
the charter and laws of the city and county of Honolulu,
and the provisions of the neighborhood plan,
and the provisions of the neighborhood plan,
and will conscientiously and impartially
and will conscientiously and impartially
discharge my duties to the best of my ability
discharge my duties to the best of my ability
as a member of the neighborhood board to which I have been elected.
as a member of the neighborhood board to which I have been elected.
Okay, we're ready to roll. Thank you,
Okay.
guys.
Oh, so partner, I emailed you a PDF file and 2 images.
Okay,
Uh,
we're on it.
Just mute it.
We're on it,
So,
don't worry.
yeah, anyway, at least for my committee report, if it's no other time.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, I call this meeting to order at 7:01 PM on Wednesday, July 12th, 2023. We're gonna go to our emergency responder monthly reports. First, we're looking at Honolulu Fire Department. Do we have Honolulu Fire Department in the room or online?
Right here.
Not online.
Okay, if they come back on, that's.
Oh, wait, we do,
Oh.
sorry.
Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good evening. I'm Fire Captain Scott Karamoto from the Kahaluu Fire Station. Our stats for June, we have 2 nuisance fires, 29 medicals, 2 ocean rescues, and 1 hazardous incident. Our safety tip of the month is grilling safety. Keep these tips in mind as you enjoy summer events and activities with family and friends. Always use barbecues, grills outside, away from doors, windows, vents, and other building openings. Place the grill well away from siding and deck railings and from under eaves and overhanging branches, according to manufacturer's instructions. Keep children and pets at least 3 feet away from cooking area and keep starter fluid, lighters, and matches out of children's reach. Cook with caution, be alert, and stay at the grill while cooking. Never leave a hot barbecue unattended. Light a propane grill only with the cover open. If the flame on the propane grill goes out, turn the grill and gas off and wait at least 5 minutes before relighting. Periodically remove grease and fat buildup in the tray below the grill so it cannot be ignited by the hot grill. Let the coals completely cool before disposing in a metal container. Never empty coals directly into a trash can. Do not store or use a grill on a porch or balcony, including any porch or balcony on the upper level of the building. Always store propane tanks outside of buildings and garages. Remember to properly inspect and maintain the tanks, fittings, and tubings according to the manufacturer's instructions. Vapors leaked indoors can be easily ignited by pilot lights or electrical equipment, causing an explosion. Are there any questions or concerns?
So I'll take questions from board members first. That'll be in person and then online, and then from community in person, then online. Board members in person, anything for HFD? Board members online, anything for HFD? Seeing none. Community? Community online? Mahalo for joining us, HFD.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Moving on to Honolulu Police Department report, and I believe that they are joining us online. HPD, do we have you online?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you so much. Please give your report.
Good evening. I'm Lieutenant Sanford Yu with the Police Department Night Watch. I'll present the stats for June. Crime is pretty much non-existent in Kahaluu. You had 2 motor vehicle thefts compared to 1 the prior month, 2 burglaries compared to 1 the prior month, 2 thefts compared to 3 the prior month, 1 car break-in and 1 robbery, which was no change compared to the prior month. I'd be willing to answer any questions at this time.
Board members in person, any questions for HPD? Board members online, any questions for HPD? Community in person? Community online? Mahalo, HPD.
Good night.
Good night. Moving on in our agenda to item 3, filling of vacancies on the board. You must present ID and proof of address if you would like to fill the vacancies. We have 1 in sub-district 5, 1 in sub-district 6. Community, anyone in the room that would like to fill a vacancy? No? Online, anyone from community that would like to fill a vacancy in sub-district 5 or 6? Seeing none. If you want to get that out to community, if anyone would like to join us, so we have a full board, please email myself or partner, and we would love to have you. Moving on to board business election of officers. So this community, unfortunately, you cannot weigh in on this. This will be a vote between board members. Are there any nominations for the position of chair?
Nominate you.
Thank you. Thank you. Daniel, do we do a roll call vote now?
So is there, okay, well, first, do you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Okay.
Any challenges? Negative
Wait,
discussion?
Ken.
Oh, Uncle Ken.
Oh, no, I was gonna nominate you.
Thanks, Uncle Ken.
Okay, okay, seeing no other nominations, for the vote, board members, if you're in favor of Jessie, please state her last name, Makainai. If not, you can also vote no or abstain. So here we go. Member Masterson? Member Rapun? Member Liu? Okay, Uncle Rick's not here, Auntie Rocky's not here. First member Machado. Second member Machado. Member Lavasser,
Makainai.
member Spencer, member Bender, member Jardine, other member Makainai,
Makainai.
and Pro Tem, your vote?
Fine, night.
Okay, thank you. Jessie is now the board chair.
Thank you very much. Moving on, do I have any nominations for, actually, before we get into this, so for the last, I believe, 2 years, we've had a second vice chair position. that I have served in, primarily as timekeeper. Do we have any discussion about whether or not we would like to maintain a second vice chair position? So we would have the first vice chair and the second vice chair. Any discussion about that? Any feelings one way or the other? Keep it, keep second vice chair. Anybody else?
Go Ken.
Uncle Ken?
Yes, I think having two vice chairs, especially for the complexity that we receive in this community, is a good idea. People are busy and we have complex issues. And not only do we have committee chairs and committees themselves, but I think administratively, just keeping up with all the stuff that goes on, it would be a good idea to have two vice chairs.
Thank you very much. I'm in agreement. So let's move on then to, is there any nominations for first vice chair? First vice chair?
I do. You took
Okay,
down my
okay.
hand.
Okay, go ahead, Uncle Ken.
Hi'iaka.
Okay, second. Yaka, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I accept.
Any board discussion? Hold on. Discussion?
Okay, board members, once again, if you're in favor of the candidate, please state the last name. If not, no or abstain also applies. Member Masterson? Member Rapun? Member Lu? Chair?
Jardine?
Okay. First member Machado? Second member Machado? Member Lavasser?
Jardine,
Member Spencer? Member Bender? Member Mailani Makainai?
Jardine.
Okay, and Hi'iaka, your vote? Okay, thank you. You are now first vice chair.
Okay, we're moving on to the second vice chair position, and I will have you be aware that you will be my dedicated timekeeper, whoever fills this position. Uncle Art, go ahead. Okay, John Rapun, nominations. Do I have a second? Uncle John declines the nomination. Any other nominations?
I
I
would
have,
nominate second.
One second.
Member Machado.
Second
Okay.
member Machado, a second?
I'll second that. That's Keone?
Yeah.
Seconded by member Masterson in person and member Lavasser online.
Keone, do you accept? Okay. Any other nominations? No?
No.
Okay, board members, once again, in regards to second vice chair, if you're in favor, please state the member's last name, which is Machado. If not, nay or abstain can apply. Member Masterson? Member Rapun? Member Lu? Chair?
Machado.
Member Towle? First member Machado? Second member? Okay. Member Lavasser?
Machado.
Member Spencer? Member Bender? Member Jardine? And member Kainai.
Machado.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Okay, thank you. Keone, you are now second vice chair.
Okay, moving on to the position of secretary. Are there any nominations for secretary?
Can I nominate?
One
Hold
sec.
on, hold on.
Uncle Ken, hold on, please. Discussion, board? Oh,
Cannot.
partner says no, sorry. NCO says no. Okay, any nominations for secretary, board?
Can I?
Let him go.
Yeah, go ahead, Uncle Ken.
My community, my Sub-district co-representative, Spencer, is he interested in that?
Member Spencer, are you interested in fulfilling the secretary position? Okay, is that a formal nomination, Uncle Ken?
Yes, it is.
Okay, can I get a second? Uncle John, thank you.
Okay. Any other nominations? No? Okay. Again, board members, state the member's last name. If not, no or abstain. Member Masterson. Member Rapun. Member Lu. Chair.
Spencer?
Member Towle. First member Machado. Okay. Second member. Okay. Member Lavasser.
Spencer,
Member Spencer. Okay. Member Bender. Okay. Member Jardine. And member Mailani Makainai.
Spencer.
Okay, thank you. Parker, you are now the secretary.
can I nominate treasurer?
Yep, hold on one second, Uncle Ken, I'm gonna mute you pretty soon. All right, last but certainly not least, what I think is one of the more important roles on our executive board, treasurer. Board, any nominations? Chair seconds. Uncle Daniel, do you accept?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, board members, once again, last name suffices for a yes vote. If not, no or abstain. Member Masterson. Member Rapun. Member Lu. Member Makainai.
Bender.
Member Towle. Member Machado. Okay. Second member. We good? Okay. Member Lavasser.
Member Bender,
Okay. Member Spencer. Member Jardine. Member Bender. And member Mailani Makainai.
Bender.
Okay, thank you. Dan, you remain as treasurer.
Excellent, thank you, board. That was quick and painless. Moving on to agenda item number 5, city representatives reports. And first we have the mayor's representative, Jiro Sumada. Jiro, thank you for joining us online.
Thank you, Chair. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go through.
Oh, sorry, community, can you hear? Can you hear well enough? Sorry, we're doing with.
Gino, if you can hold
If you could hold your
your
microphone
microphone to
up
your,
a little bit.
yeah.
We're working with limited tech.
Is that better?
A little bit.
Okay, I'll just talk loud.
Okay.
The first item was about that boat. Some residents requested the removal of abandoned boat on a trailer in Kahaluu Regional Park, the parking lot. HPD reported for past months, District 4 officers were in contact with agencies to remove the abandoned boat on a trailer parked at Kahaluu Regional Park. In April 2023, 2 citations were issued for infractions and a police report was initiated. The abandoned vehicle section of the city's Department of Customer Service notified the Parks and Recreation to remove the boat since it was parked on their property. The removal process may take up to 6 months. Officers recently checked the area and the boat is still there. From Parks and Rec, they reported the DPR contacted the property owner to remove the boat. Property owner is on the mainland and is working with the remaining family on island to remove the boat.
Sorry, Jiro, can we just pause you 1 second?
Yeah.
Can I hear? Sorry. Sorry, community that's in the meeting. We're just working with limited tech. If we could just keep our voices down while we're getting the reports right now. Yeah.
Eugene is very concerned about this.
Oh, Eugene, you want to come up closer?
Yeah, come on up.
If you can't hear and this is directly to do with you, please come up closer.
That's fine.
So the quick recap is that the boat trailer at Kahaluu Regional had 4 officers check it out and the removal process is going to take approximately 6 months. Correct, Gino?
Yes.
Okay, my question is why? Why so long?
Okay, So normally the way this works is we let them give their full report and then we'll do the Q and A.
Okay.
Yeah.
According to the abandoned sticker that's placed on the boat, Department of Customer Service tagged it on April 24th. I've contacted HPD, DLNR, Department of Parks and Recs, Department of Customer Service, the mayor's office several times. Okay, what got back to me was DCS was supposed to coordinate with the people that's living on the property to have the boat removed. That's why it was tagged on April 24th. The boat wasn't placed into the parking lot until a couple of days after Mother's Day. It's like May 15 or 16. Okay, so, but the question or frustration I have is each department that I talk to points the finger at another department. And it goes around in circles. Customer service, I was told the boat was supposed to be placed on Waihe Road. If it had been placed on Waihe Road instead of the parking lot, the boat would have been gone by now. Yeah, I talked to Shane, he's with DCS. Then he started explaining to me something to do with funding or lack of funding. There's funding to remove boats left on the streets, but not in the park because of a technicality that 20 feet from the street is on city Park and Recs land. So now the responsibility becomes to Parks and Recs. So I spoke to Jason, District 4 Supervisor. He says, Mr. D contacted me, said, according to Jason, DPR is going to take care of the situation. What is take care of the situation? Why 6 months? If the boat was left at City Hall, fronting King Street, the boat will be gone that same day. So why does it take 6 months? Because it's sitting at the park, based on a technicality. Because you know what, common sense, if DCS was supposed to remove the boat from Waihe Road, what does it matter that it's sitting 20 feet off the street in DPR's parking lot?
Gina, I'm gonna let
Do your job.
Let Jiro respond and finish
Yeah.
your report, but you can stay right here so you can hear him.
The city department, Laura Thielen got a pay raise. Each department city head and their deputy got a pay raise. Why don't you spend the money that Shane said you guys don't have to remove the boat? Ridiculous.
Jiro,
You know, and then I'm told DCS can take the boat, but DPR got to take the trailer.
I understand your frustrations, Eugene. Let's give Jiro a moment to respond to that, and then I'm gonna have him finish his report, but you can stay right here and listen to his response. Jiro?
I don't know if I got a best answer for you. The police department said it may take up to 6 months. The
Police
parks,
department.
there said,
6 months.
the parks guy
Okay.
said that they're working with the family that owns the boat. And they're in the mainland, but they got some family members here, and they're trying to remove the boat. I think the park's effort to remove the boat is to have them do it so that the city doesn't have to pay anybody to actually haul it away. I cannot speak for parks, but I can convey your frustration to the parks director. But I'm just guessing, you know.
Who do you work for?
Jiro works for the mayor, is the mayor's representative.
Okay, I talked to Kelly at the mayor's office like 5 times. She tells me she's gonna contact DPR. She tells me she's gonna contact DCS. Okay, HPD already contacted them. They don't deal with boats. So why is HPD involved? Okay, that's number
They're the
one.
ones that issued the citation.
But the point is this. Why put DPR in charge based on the fact that it's just sitting in their parking lot? Who actually is supposed to remove the boat if it was sitting on Waihe Road? See, that's what I'm talking about, how each department point their fingers to another department and nothing gets done. No,
Okay, well, I can convey that frustration to the mayor, the Parks and Rec, but
sure.
right now they got the ball, so.
Follow my Jiro. So I'm gonna pass it off to Uncle John real quick, and then after this question, we'll circle back to this issue so that you can complete your city report.
Okay,
My basic question is the question he asked, if the boat's sitting on Waihee Road, does it become the police department with possibility to remove?
Okay. Did you hear that, Jito?
I think, okay. I work at DPP, right? And I cannot speak for police and I cannot speak for DCS. But I'm guessing that the police can issue the citation. If, like you said, I totally agree. If the boat was moved to Waihee Road, then there's an agency and a mechanism to actually tow it away because I think DCS controls the towing contract.
Yeah.
Okay, Jito, we'll, yeah. Can you just,
So-
you want me to repeat it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jiro is saying that he works for DPP, so he's not sure which entities protocols would follow, but he assumes that if it was on Waihee Road, that yes, HPD would be in charge of removing that from there.
Okay.
So,
Something to work with.
Yeah.
With DCS.
so in the meantime, we can continue to discuss this, but I'm just gonna take a quick time out and let Jiro finish his, city report. Thank you so much. Sorry, Jiro, go ahead and complete your city report.
Okay, the next item was for the residents' request for schedule of when the restroom gates at Lainani Park will be secured daily. So Parks report was DPR is working with the American Guard Service to add gates at the park to the current gate closure contract schedule. It's estimated that the gates will be added to the schedule in August. So next month. The next item was members Lavasser and Towle requested a meeting with DPP and DTS to propose a solution to buses making a left turn movement from Kamehameha Highway onto Waihee Road to allow buses to turn around. So from DPP, we deferred to DTS on this item. DTS indicated the bus operates along Kamehameha Highway through the windward coast areas and does not make a left turn movements at Waihee Road unless traffic lanes are closed due to emergency situation requiring the bus to detour or turn around. In past situations, the bus was detoured around a closure via Waihee and Vailehua roads to utilize the back roads due to down utility lines and during a flooding event that closed sections of Kamehameha Highway in both directions. The parking lot of the Kahaluu Regional Park located on Waihee Road was used as the bus turnaround. I don't know if that really addressed what member Lavasser and Towle idea was, but maybe I can talk to DTS again. Okay, the next one was about signage. Member Kaluhiva requested a no parking signs on Kamehameha Highway between Heia State Park and Heia Boat Pier. DTS will conduct an investigation and inform the board of their findings by the end of October 2023. And the next item was parking. Member Lavasser requested the removal of street parking on Haiku Road near the raised crosswalk to allow motorists to see pedestrians attempting to utilize the crosswalk. DTS's response was that part of the Kaneohe Complete Streets project, the city will be retaining on-street parking and demarcating parking lanes on both Haiku Road and Kahuhipa Street. Under the Kaneohe Complete Streets project, measures are proposed to demarcate on-street parking, bike lanes, curb extensions on both Haiku Road and Kahuhipa Street between Kahikili and Kamehameha Highways. A through travel lane will be retained in both directions. The proposed measures help to encourage speed compliance by narrowing the travel lanes. This conceptual plan will be incorporated into a future repaving project on both roadways. And the next item was again for DTS. Member Lavasser requested a traffic study on Haiku Road near King Intermediate School during school hours as the current drop-off pickup process causes traffic jams. DTS reply was, please verify location of concern. Is the concern on Haiku Road by Heia Elementary School or on Kamehameha Highway near King Intermediate School? And there were some requests from member Lou about restriping on of traffic lines on Kamehameha Highway between Hygienic Store and Haiku Road. And DFM wrote back, Department of Facility Maintenance has the restriping of pavement markings on Kamehameha Highway between Hygienic Store and Haiku Road scheduled for late July or early August, pending weather and resources. The last
Community, can you
item,
please get quiet in the room? It's difficult to hear with minimal tech. Sorry, Judo.
okay, so then the last question was again from Member Lu. It was about a mower. Member Lu suggested that the city invest in an articulated mower to cut guinea grass on the shoulder of Kamehameha Highway without needing to drive on the shoulder so that the mower does not have to get stuck in the mud. DFM's reply is DFM has tractor mower equipment with an articulating arm at the Kaneohe district and utilizes it where appropriate. The equipment is nearing the time for replacement and has required more frequent repairs. When I talked to, funds were provided by the city council for replacing the equipment in the current FY24 budget. So they're planning to purchase a new equipment. And until that new mower arrives, they will probably continue to have to do it by hand because the existing equipment is breaking down a lot. So,
Is that the end of your report, Judo?
yes, yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, community, so we're gonna go back to question and answers. I'm gonna give you 1 minute total time if you have additional discussion. Is there anything else, Eugene, you want to bring up in regards to that topic, or do you think Eugene has enough information?
I was thinking, since it's DPR's responsibility, instead of leaving the boat here, maybe we can just relocate it to the Kahaluu Regional World.
Did you hear that, Judo?
Well, it's not as far as people, we gotta get water in case. Would start.
The recommendation was that the boat be removed to DTR in the meantime until they can figure out what needs to occur with it. From
Relocate
community
to,
member Eugene,
relocate to where?
to DTR,
DTR, okay.
Parks and Rec down in.
To Parks and Rec.
There's
at Kahaluu Regional Park.
a little station over there.
Sorry, Member Masterson, could you come closer to the computer just so you can inform Gito? I apologize, everyone. This is our first meeting back in person, so we're.
The yard, a base yard.
If you could just
So, yeah,
over here.
so he was talking about the base yard over by Kahaluu Regional Park that city and county uses, that has a big fence around it. So maybe it would be an option to put it over there instead of leaving it where it is. That was the kind of the
Okay.
thought on that one. Yeah, but
Okay.
thanks, Chiro.
It's a
Nice
good
to see
idea.
you.
Yeah, if you could look into that for us, Gito, we'd greatly appreciate it. Does
Okay.
anyone else, board members, anything else for Gito, Uncle Cliff?
Question to that. Now you get that spoke on a trailer to you. It will be there, now no time,
Can I get order in the room, please?
no one storage, no anything. So now you gotta bring on the low boys, strap them up, put them on the trailer, you get them that far already. Why you take them there? You gotta pick them up again and move them again? I mean, everyone wants money. That's why we use our money. That city park, they were low boy, do that kind of stuff. But that's about our parks.
Yeah, maybe that's-
They can work. They get a low boy, get the big rig around. And I think between one up to and the whole thing up, we sell it and. Trailer gone, no more tire. So now it costs all. Oh my.
Mahalo, Uncle Cliff. Uncle Ken, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Yes. The Waihee Road restriping to accommodate, or Waihee intersection with Kamehameha restriping in order to get a ability to turn the bus around. We've come up with a drawing and a photo, and I'm going to make it in my committee report at the end of the meeting. But right now we've done a serious probe and found there are some limiting factors that will have to be dealt with. So if we can communicate with you at a later time and also DTS and I guess Parks and Recreation, because it'll be their area that the DTS will be using. But anyway, we'll try and coordinate with you to set up a meeting where we can discuss and show our plan to those that need to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Ken. Board members, any other comments on this issue? Or the city report? Go ahead.
So it's in regards to the request for the no parking signs made by Hiraki between the pier and the State Park. Did that investigation start already?
That I don't know, actually, Chair, whether it's actually started. They just said that they're gonna finish by October.
The reason I ask is because summer is about to end. You guys won't be able to see the problem that we face driving through there all summer long. As residents, we have to go through that every day. These people come from all over the island, they park in front of the bus stop, they park in front on the side of the road, they don't even park off the road sometimes. And it creates a hazard for just the local community and everybody else there. Like, and waiting until the end of October 2023 doesn't seem that responsible to figure out problem, to investigate the problems. I'm just curious if that investigation has started already, or you guys wait till the last week of October for dual? Because in the meantime, like, I've had several occasions driving with my family where drunk people are crossing the street, not looking, with the cooler, the water stuff, and then they pay no mind to us driving past. I don't slam on my brakes and potentially harm my children and my wife, and they don't care. But it just keeps happening, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse every year because everybody wants to go out on the bay on the weekend. And so I'm just, that's my concern.
Sarah, I'll talk with DTS and explain the urgency and that summertime is when it's at its worst, so that's the time they should check it out.
It starts on Memorial Day weekend. It goes until about second week of September. Is my experience over the last 30 plus years I've lived there. So, and it's only gotten worse. You know, more people are coming from other places, buying boats, thinking that just because they have a boat, they can just do whatever they like, and then they see people doing it, so everybody follows suit. But in the meantime, they have no conscious thought about how they're affecting others that are just trying to commute to the store, to the mall, their families, just to get out of their neighborhoods. And like, we got to deal with that every day. They only got to deal with that the day that they go there. But we got to deal with it every day that the next group of people are there. And it's more so like a safety thing, in my opinion. So I'd like to know if when that's actually started. Because by the time you got it investigated in October, they're not going to be there. Nobody's going to make it pouring rain. So, yeah, that's my only concern.
Just if you like to set up point to yes, that I think the point of moving the boat, even though it's a pain, if somebody else's expense, move it out of the active park area that we have here, put it in their storage area, and they can figure out. But don't take away from the part of.
John, okay, member, Auntie Rocky had something.
Because it's true, I've actually been there and I've seen it, how just very quickly kid. I know since the time, a lot of kids, crossing, going in and to the both bus stops. They park it in the front of the bus stop, so they don't get tickets. They can't even hardly see the bus stop, because it's the overgrown trees and bushes and all the cars and road. So the city, we gotta start doing something about it. They're gonna wait for somebody to get hit or a kid to get killed before they do something. They're looking for some kind of action like that.
Somebody hit the stop already. Somebody
hit the bus stop.
Somebody came out the bus stop, really.
Okay. Board members,
Chair
any other
Waller?
comments? Community in the room? Community online? Okay, mahalo, Jiro. If you could get back to us on those items
Okay,
in
will
between this meeting and next, we'd greatly appreciate it.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
I'm-
Moving on
Chair.
to Councilmember Esther Kiaina, thank you so much, Jiro.
Aloha and good evening, everyone. As everyone knows, the city's rental and relief program run by the Office of Economic Revitalization continues to have outreach workshops. And tomorrow at Windward Community College, we will have another one from 10 a.m. to 4:30. And the location, Jaren of my office is going to put in the chat room. It's at Hale'a'o 101, room 101 and 102. I need to tell you, it's critically important that people show up. If you do not have appointment, just show up anyway. I'm a little worried because all of the other workshops on Oahu have been attended by very many. And the other day, we only had 5 sign up. We're geared up to sign up 100 people at each workshop. And yesterday it got up to 21. So this is a caveat to everyone who, if you have family or friends who need relief for rent, please show up. Second, I wanted to update you on 2 bills that I've talked about previously. Bill 37, dealing with tax credits for real property taxes, as well as Bill 40, dealing with homeowners exemptions. Those are 2 bills that I introduced in 2022. We had final passage before the full city council on Friday. The first would increase the tax credit, especially for our kupuna, from 60,000 to 80,000, meaning only 3% of their income could be taxed. And the second bill impacts all homeowners, increasing the homeowners exemption from 100 to 120, and for those who are 65 or older, from 140,000 to 160,000. Last Friday, we also approved a permitted interaction group report on real property taxes. I am not naive to think that the 2 bills that I just identified are the end all. Clearly, more relief needs to be explored, both in the short term as well as some of our, I think we are looking at potentially reforming the system. And I know many of you have a lot of mana'o on this. So Jaren is going to be putting into the chat box the real property tax report that we just approved on Friday, and I ask that you consider it. We're exploring issues as like vacancy tax, for example, homeowner occupied versus non-occupied home. So I appreciate your mana'o. And lastly, and we talked about this at the Waimanalo neighborhood board on Monday, invasive species on the windward side is, I think, for me, it's reaching a crisis stage. In other words, I think we as communities can't just be waiting for the appropriate authorities, namely the state and federal governments, to have rapid response teams for some of the invasive species we're dealing with, whether it be coqui frog, little fire ants, or coconut rhinoceros beetle. So we are likely going to be having a town hall meeting. For anybody who's interested in this issue, please let us know. I'll help get the word out. I've already talked to the Department of Land and Natural Resources since Monday, and I saw the state agricultural director. This is a collective issue that needs to be dealt with at the county, state, and federal level. But I think on the windward side, we need to avoid what has happened elsewhere when the governments have failed to protect our communities and the spread of the invasive species gets worse. And that's the end of my report. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Esther. Board members, do we have any questions or comments for Esther in the room? No? Uncle Ken, anyone, any board members online? Any questions or comments for Esther? Seeing none. Community? So briefly, if you missed it, tomorrow at WCC, Councilmember Kiaina is going to be holding the rental utility relief program. She said we have low participation in our district. So if you know someone who's struggling, with rental and utility relief, please send them to WCC room 101 and 102 between 10 and 4:30 tomorrow. Community online, any questions? Joe, do you have a question?
One, I found those in the closet, I don't know if that works. Also, I mentioned there was a flyer out for the.
Councilmember Kiana, is there a flyer available for the rental and utility relief
Yes.
program?
No, I can text it to you.
Jaron, can you put the information in the chat?
Sorry,
box?
Esther, 1 second. Try again. Sorry, Esther, we're working with some technical things here, coming back in person.
Watch out if they were in a closet. They were broken.
Your headphone.
We'll find out.
We should be good.
Okay, sorry, Esther. So if there's a flyer, could you just drop it in the chat and then we'll distribute it?
Jaron, are you putting that in the chat room, please?
Yes, it's in there.
Thank
The
you, Jerry.
information or the flyer?
The
And then what I'll do after I leave, if you don't mind, I will get the flyer and drop it in the box while the next speaker is speaking. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Councilmember
so much. It's
Kiana.
also on my Facebook page. City Council Member Esther Kia-Ina, it's on my Facebook page as well, but I'm going to drop it in tonight. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. Moving on to Councilmember Matt Wire. I believe we have Leitani on.
Yep. Aloha, Leitani
Hi,
Peltier
Leitani.
on behalf of Councilmember Matt Wire. So I'll start with the council updates on our end. So Councilmember Kia-Ina noted the real property tax relief bills that were passed last week. And to build on this important work, Councilmember Wire introduced 2 bills related to the real property tax. Bills 34 and 35, both of which passed this first reading, this afternoon. Bill 34 increases the homeowner exemption to $250,000 and the kupuna exemption to $300,000. And this would be for the tax year 2025. So looking into the future. Bill 35 addresses the tax assessments, and in particular, the issue that happened this year where there's such a huge jump in the assessments that people just get taken by surprise. This bill would essentially average your previous years of assessments and base the tax on that. And so what would happen is that if your assessment jumps this year, it gets evened out by lower previous years. Both of these bills are ambitious, certainly, but they are forward-looking, and we are keen to keep the conversation going about how we restructure our real property tax system. Moving to some community stuff, Councilmember Kia-Ina mentioned the rental and utility relief program event tomorrow, and we also encourage strong community participation in this opportunity. On Saturday, June 24th, Councilmember Wire kokuod at the Hauula Community Center rental relief outreach event, which is obviously not in Ko'olaupo'o, but people were coming from all over to fill out and submit applications there. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I know that it was over 80 applications completed there, easily over 80. So go get them if you can. Finally, I'll note that on June 30th, Councilmember Wire participated in a cultural and historic boat tour in Kaneohe Bay. And mahalo nui to board member Kaluhiva and also Auntie Mahelani Cipher for helping to facilitate this huaka'i and for sharing the mo'olelo and the political history of Ahupua'a from Kaneohe all the way to Kualoa. We really appreciated being able to learn and then just sort of be out there, experience the bay and see all these precious places from this very unique vantage point. So mahalo nui. That's all for my report, but happy to take questions and field questions.
Mahalo, Leitani. Board members in the room, any questions for Leitani? Comments, concerns? Auntie Rocky, go ahead.
I think I brought it, I love it, Connie, for the report. I think I brought it up to Matt earlier about the painting the lines on our road, coming in a highway from high school to a generic store. And right past my house, come at night, I can't hardly see the line. It's gone already, it's faded out. but with the making of the the roundabout, we had more traffic coming our way. We need those lights to be put back. I don't know if any of you guys have seen, I haven't seen.
Waiting first.
Yeah, so it is a city highway, so I think the city should repaint the lines along.
Yeah, so that's that part of Kamehameha Highway is actually the city's responsibility, and we've gotten a lot of complaints about those lines for a couple months now. We did, we've noted that to the departments, and I think Jiro reported earlier that he followed up with one of the departments, and that my understanding is they're planning on getting it done within the next few months, if that's right.
Yeah, Chair, late July or early August.
Thank you.
So Tony, could you also come to check the pole, talking about it for years, right by the Hague State Park? It's leaning more into the park now. I know most of the guys that passed me, I don't know if you guys seen that pole. It's getting dangerous. And right there, I seen a car go over. In fact, twice I've seen cars go over. So I think that right there, that it's beginning to cave in the road, so we gotta check on it. Mahalo.
Thank you, Antiraki.
Chair has something.
Yeah. Vice Chair Jardine. Hi, Leitani. Can you ask council member if he can push on Director Thielen to resolve the boat abandoned in Kahaluu Regional Park? Because we got a letter, what is that, late June, saying that the issue would be resolved within a week. And now I'm hearing 6 months today. So can you just kind of push on that a little bit and see if it gets anywhere? Mahalo.
Thank you, Member Jardine. Member Towell?
With respect to striping the lines on Kamehameha Highway, what's worked really well on Mahalo Highway on the coast is those amber reflectors as well. And at night, those really help you negotiate the curves and everything. So that would be really helpful to install those as well.
Just to clarify, to make sure I heard that right, that you said was that reflectors on the divider in the road?
3-inch by 3-inch amber reflector that they put in the middle of the line.
Kalamai Leitani. So Member Towell is asking for the amber reflectors to be placed in with the restriping as well. Any other board members? Oh, sorry, Uncle Cliff, go ahead.
Is he talking about that striping there? Yeah, all those buttons came off on the road from the city. When he was cutting the bushes, all those bush, just cut them and put them on the road. So they had the bobcat picking up, they scraped the whole road. So all the buttons, everything came off. And that was put back. So, every time I pass, we were doing that, I just left, I know what I would be left. We didn't long. But,
Mahalo, Uncle Cliff. Board members online? Anything to add? Community in the room? Community online? Thank you for joining us, Leitani.
Thank you.
Moving on to Board of Water Supply, Barry Usagawa. Barry, are you with us tonight online? No report. We'll circle back if they join us later. All right, moving on to residents and community concerns. Community in the room, concerns that we have not gone over yet. So no boat, no lines, no parking, anything additional that anyone would like to raise? Seeing none. Online community, any issues you would like to raise that we did not previously discuss? Seeing none. Moving on. Oh, Uncle Cliff, you got something for community concerns? Go ahead.
basically construction, what's the situation on that?
Uncle Ken, do you want to answer that for Uncle Cliff?
He's too far away from the mic. I didn't hear it.
He's asking what the latest is with HK construction.
Oh, well, we're hoping to get a meeting with Corps of Engineers and neighbors and community members, including board members. And so when the problem is the Corps of Engineers always meets with the city and HK. And they always get razzle dazzled by the attorneys for HK and they go with HK. And then we come in and we hit them with a sledgehammer saying, no, it's a wetland. And you admit it's a wetland. We need to address this issue. And they are not, they're trying to sweep it under the rug. So we're trying to get a meeting where we directly deal with them. And we don't mind if HK attends it, but they're not going to dominate the meeting. We're going to explain how come it's a wetland and how come it needs to be a wetland. And those houses do not belong there, especially there because it's on clay soil. There's no way they can get a septic system in there. But we got eagle eyes everywhere on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Uncle Ken.
Okay, remember I talked to you about that, about the excavator being in that property, last week was the other week. I figured out why they brought the excavator in. They couldn't bring a smaller machine in, because it's all, they hit water already. You go to the top road, they use it for scrape all the grass out from the wet land. Now if you go up there now, you can see one fall in the water. It's only about, I think the elevator you take on that, probably about 2 feet from the road. You look at the fresh water.
Well, that whole area up there, Lamaula, they were stockpiling dirt. Okay, and they had the permit for stockpile the dirt. And then I got video of them from a drone moving all that dirt around, which they're not allowed to do, is stockpile dirt. And so they've been busted filling that area, and we have evidence, the pipe going underneath Lamaula Road. That pipe is filled 2/3 of the way. And that only happens when you stop the flow of water through it. And there's all kind of other evidence that we know because we live here, and HK keeps trying to razzle dazzle Corps of Engineers, and we're going, hey, wait a minute, let's have this out and finally deal with it because they don't belong there. Thank you.
Thanks,
So,
Uncle Ken.
pile of rubbish there, we get so many years. I think that they don't have permit for stockpile like that.
No, their
They've
permits
been
were
dumping-
revoked.
They've been dumping trash there, and that excavator, there's some heavy equipment, yellow heavy equipment that's like buried. They buried it there, and all kind of other stuff that's going on. It's just a bad piece of property. It's a wetland. We need the wetland because that's a flooding area now, and so we got to
Thanks,
deal
Uncle Ken.
with it.
Can you
for the
wrap it up
benefit
in
of the
30
community.
seconds, Uncle Ken? Yeah.
I've done already.
All done. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So community, that's what we're looking ahead to. Getting everyone involved and making reports on the development at HK. Joe?
I heard, as we got in at the end of, they talk a little bit about invasive species.
Yeah, so, yeah, go ahead and then we'll go to Kimiona online as well.
Oh.
Bring that up.
Of that, yeah, I was just, checking the agenda and didn't see it on there and was just wondering, knowing that there's, if
Yeah, this is the time. Yeah, this is the time.
just, invasive species are an existential threat to our relationship with China, and that's wild. So we gotta make sure that whatever we can be doing, we're doing in order to let us continue relating to Aina. I don't think we can imagine how aggressive they would change their lifestyle, elevate and CRD whack everything. So I just wanted to make sure that we are doing everything that we can do and like trying to find out what the roadblocks are to decisive action so we can resolve them.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Auntie Rocky because we're in person first, and then I'm gonna go to Chair of Waimanalo Neighborhood Board, Kimiona Pane, who has a lot of information on what we're dealing with the little fire. Go ahead, Auntie
Just
Rocky.
want to make one comment, for the community, and us, that maybe next meeting we can come up with a better system.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't hear Esther, I didn't realize who was talking to when I first walked in at the beginning. I mean, I've been to virtual meetings all over the state of Hawaii right now with the And the meeting's set up, smaller rooms like this, that the system is better, and I think the city should give us a better system to work with. At least we can see who we're talking to, and then we can hear it a little better, we don't have to strain ourselves, and I know that our community here, it's so nice to see so much people at last coming to our meetings, straining to hear what's happening in the meeting also. So I think the system should be picked up a bit, Even that small little Hawaiian Civic Club, we get big screen and we can see who's talking and we can hear who's talking. Right now, I can hardly hear who's on and who's talking and what you're talking about. It's just a common language. So next meeting, I like to see an improvement.
Thank you, Auntie Rocky. Kimiona, are you with us still online?
Aloha, Chair. I am, and I'm so sorry. I don't mean to take up too much time from your meeting.
Go ahead.
Mahalo nui kako, Kimiona Kane, Chair, Waimanalo Neighborhood Board. I just want to share an invitation for collaboration, Chair, as Esther Kia Ainar, council member, mentioned, as well as one of the residents there. There has been an increase in invasive species. Waimanalo has confirmed little fire ants in our nursery area. So if you folks are purchasing plants in Waimanalo, I strongly recommend that you ask the nurseries if they are aware of LFA and what they're doing about it. We will be collaborating, Chair, with hopefully the Kahaluu Neighborhood Board as well as the rest in Ko'olaupoko to really get ahead of this issue. And we just wanted to be here tonight to facilitate any kind of questions that might come about it. But I'm here to share that Waimanalo has tested positive for little fire ants. So just wanted to share that with the community and bring that up. Mahalo nui for your time.
Mahalo for leading the charge on that and giving us the information, Kimiona. Does anyone have any questions regarding little fire ants to Kimiona? Go ahead, Jeff.
What happens to a nursery after they test, after they find little fire ants? Are they still selling plants with fire ants in them?
Yeah. From my experience, yeah.
Mahalo. I'm sorry, is that a question for me, Chair?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for the question. To repeat, we're still learning those processes. They're very unclear. And the experience that I personally dealt with, when I purchased the plants, there was no mention of fire ants from the nursery itself until I went home, tested for fire ants, contacted them, only to be told that they were aware of the issue for years. And so I was very disappointed in that response. And what we're doing now is we're trying to get ahead to the Department of Ag to find out what those rules are, what needs to be changed and amended. And I know that there are some invasive species professionals on the line, so I want to give them more opportunity to dig into that. But to the question, we intend to take a grassroots effort towards addressing those state rules to ensure that these individuals that are being negligent and irresponsible to the safety and welfare of our communities are held accountable.
Mahalo, Kimiona. We have another community member concern regarding elephant. Or
Aloha, my name is Erin Bishop and I work for the Oahu Invasive Species Committee, and we coordinate and support Hawaii Impact work with little fire. And to the question about what happens if an elephant are detected in a nursery, generally speaking, Department of Agriculture does have a statute, so they can authority on it to go and stop those pest movements. But the rules in which they operate to actually implement and meet those statutes are unclear. And so what's happening right now is they're going to do an evaluation and a rules change to Chapter 72 in the Department of Agriculture. It's a very long process, and where they are in the process is in order to get those rules clarified so that Department of Agriculture can go in and stop the movement of this pest. It's at the governor's desk right now. The next thing that will happen is once the governor signs it, it is the Department of Agriculture's responsibility to hold public hearings. And that's really what we want to get public participation for. So you can reach out to the governor's office, say this is a concern, please get this signed so we can move on to the next step. And then we can inform you all so that you can attend these meetings. This is also an issue for coconut rhinoceros beetle because it moves in mulch. So if you're concerned about mulch moving around, not just with little fires, but coconut rhinoceros beetle as well, we will keep you informed and we will be participating in this community meeting.
Mahalo, Erin. Would you mind sharing your email address or any kind of contact information for anyone who's interested in contacting you, and we can send it out?
Okay.
Thank you so much. Go.
reference to your question, the people who were tested positive, you know, they're still selling today. Oh, as far as I know, that has not stopped. So there's Home Depot and Lowe's and all those people still purchase, or are they notified? These big buyers, because buyers like ourselves, we're not joining them. Yeah, I don't know the extent of which the nursery is contacting people that they sell to. But so whoever tested, the state or whatever department this is that tested, they're not obligated to put out like a warning, a notice that this invasive thing that can take over our state is. Well, to my knowledge. But that's where the rules, this rules change is extremely important. And that's got like, buildings and they're moving it fast. It is moving, but I think with public participation, with people saying that this is an important issue, it will move even faster.
Sorry, then I'm gonna go to member Akun and then to you.
I attended neighborhood board meeting the other night. It was, they're still meeting virtually. And Kimiona was on fire. Every single elected official, every single institution, person that on the board that asked the same question, what are you gonna do about it? How can you help? How can you make a difference? And I think that's exactly what we need to do. Several times in the meeting, I heard discussion about Oahu being on the tipping point. That tipping point is really critical. I also heard that there's lack of funding. I've heard lack of staffing. And so it seems to me that, given the potential impact of Little Fire Ants alone, let alone Rhinoceros Mosquito, on everything, tourism, people enjoying parks, going to the beach, agriculture, it seems to me that the governor needs to kind of invoke some emergency powers and say, this is what's going to happen. If I know the nurseries in Waimanalo, many of them are on state land. Yank their permit, bring it to a stop. It's that important to all of us. Little Fire Ants in Huimano, Akipu, Kualoa, Kaneohe, Kailua, Waimanalo. My house is next. We're not going to put up with that. We can't put up with that. This is way, way too critical. So that's why we wanted to invite Aaron to come tonight, and that's why I wanted to sit in on the meeting with Waimanalo. But we have to, as a community, stand up and demand that there is immediate action. The Department of Ag has been woefully not involved in the discussion. We cannot put up with that anymore. Can't say that anymore. All of our activities, from farming that we do in Waiholia to somebody living in their backyard, we're going to be really, really disappointed, really, really bummed out if we don't deal with it. So let's deal with it.
So I think now that
It
we
needs
know
to be on
that,
our agenda for next
yeah,
meeting.
we can put it on the agenda for next meeting. Now that we're aware that it is on Gov's desk, we have Senator Awa in the room. I believe we have Scott, the governor's representative, online, so we can make a push for that as community. Member Masterson, anything to add?
So not that I'm, not in my backyard, right? But from a community standpoint, from a resident, what happens if we suspect or we got some kind of really bad bug? To who we call? We call you group or
Yeah.
who go about dealing with it?
Yes, you can go to stoptheant.org. We will mail you one of these kits, self-addressed stamp, and collect whatever ants you have, mail it to us. The only thing it takes you to do is the box of peanut butter. Everything else is paid for. We identify it. If you have a little fire, Hawaii Ant Lab and the Oahu Invasive Species Committee come out. We do a survey to find out how big that population is. It's probably not just on your property. And then once we can outline the infestation, then go in and do the treatments. And I know you're short on time, but under community concerns, I can give you all the rundown of where it is walking right now and the status. But contact us, stop it, and we're still working to stop it.
So we will look upstream kind of thing.
Yes, yeah.
How well funded are you for those cases mailing out and all of that? Because we could be dropping them off at every community association, Key Pride, Starbucks, instead of asking for a tip. And one of those to go with them.
Yeah, last year we passed out nearly 4,000 keys. So we've got the money for this, but when we find it, we need the money to put people out there to treat your yard. So right now, on a walkthrough, there's about 2.5 people to do that for 30 active sites.
When you came to the neighborhood, what previously, was it me?
Yes.
Talk about the funding issues you guys are facing. Can you just, in a nutshell, tell us how bad that funding deficit is?
We're very short right now. One of the things that Kimela pointed to was the success that they had in Maui. They had a very large infestation and a really hard trade. They were able to do research and get in the permitting process where they were able to use helicopters to treat those populations. And it's about 13 acres. Now they're down to like 2 vials, where the whole entire Howell bush and the mulch was completely filled. That's because they had a lot of support from their city and county. A large majority of their funding to treat LFA came from city and county. Most of our funding is coming from a larger pot of invasive species work from the state. So that's a competitive pot with the watershed partnerships we work for. We're all competing for this $5 million pot. We also, though, this year got funding from the Department of Defense. It's the REPI funding. Starting in January 2024, we're going to be able to have a team of about 4 early detection rapid response that can be dedicated to local fire ants, but also Koki farms. So they're going to be splitting their time. So one of our issues is that maintaining that funding so that we can maintain the staff to respond to this is critical. Because when COVID happened and we started getting 20 active sites and we had 2 people, if we'd have had 8 people available to come on board, a lot easier to get ahead of this. So having that dedicated funding is critical.
So it's a real quick follow-up on that. So the big money is at the federal level. And Representative Takuda sits on the Agri Congress, and she's Woodward. So we should be pushing for federal money. You know, a lot of state departments, they want to go after federal money, but they have to go through accounting for that. But that's the federal money. That's what's needed. We can help with that.
Thank you. Uncle Rick, do you still have something to add?
Just real briefly, if you recall, the certified nursery on a data was responsible for bringing the cookie products on the way. So, I mean, this just keeps going and going and going. And I really think, I'll get on my soapbox again, if we had instituted a better system for checking instead of just this voluntary fill out a form on the airplane to check for stuff like, you know, invasive things like they do in New Zealand and Australia, I think our environment would fare far better and we wouldn't be spending all this money chasing these new things.
Thank you, Uncle Rick. We're gonna go to Joe and then Auntie Rocky. Oh, sorry, Auntie Rocky, board members first, Joe, then one more resident online, and then we can table the rest of this till Esther puts, Councilmember Tiana puts out her town hall information and for next board meeting. Go ahead, Auntie Rocky.
Very local from our own aqua. I mean, that's it, because when we spurred the Kakao EV, we were kind of like paranoid. So every single pula that we got from Kauai even was put into a separate tub and checked for snails and everything. Everything that goes into our every single bit, we want to know where it comes from, including dirt, gravel, and everything. All of that is tested, made sure that there's no chemicals going in right now. So maybe we ourselves, the buyers, gotta be more concerned on what we're buying, who we're buying it. When we go, we buy like, if we're gonna do like the invasive, we're doing, right now, they're doing Haiku Valley, getting rid of the invasive trees. But the plan in action is to restore it with other trees. The trees that's coming in, we're testing those trees, making sure that no alien species is gonna come into the valley also. We're trying to replace it with our own native plants there in the valley. If you see dead trees there, it's because we're getting rid of the invasive trees. And the Tolau Foundation and other organizations is doing that. But we should be careful when we're buying stuff. To ask questions, don't be afraid to ask questions.
Wow, Joe.
First, I wanted to say, I think that's baller ideas from your acquisition report. Sounds great. Other thing I wanted to say, I have 2 questions. One of them is, how do LFA, you said you increased in site number, like how does it seem like new sites start most often? Like if you know what that is to be watching out for, you mentioned mulch, I don't know if there's other things. And then I also wanted to ask like what the closest places to here are.
Yeah, the ants can move around in anything. They found them in vehicles. They chased down vehicles that have been sold without Alabama before. So plants are most likely the way that you're going to get them. generally when we find them in a residence, it's because people are getting stung. Once you're getting stung, you have a ton of ants in your yard. So that means they've probably been there for about 3 or 4 years by the time someone's getting stung. This is why early detection, you test your yard every year, use the kits. The issue though with that is that once it's been there for 3 or 4 years, it's really hard to determine where it came from. But we have been able to find out that people have got it from sharing plants. So if you do have plants, you have ants in your plants, you want to make sure you're testing your plants. And if you do find out you have LFA and you've been giving plants to other people, let them know. Nobody's doing this on purpose. Right? We're doing this on purpose, so nobody's going to get mad. Just a matter of finding the ants. And then your second question was
Like, just to know, like,
where it is.
they are.
The closest one to Waihee is if we want to. Chris Rolick is online and get a little bit of better idea about the layout of that infestation. But I would like to draw attention to the Kahaluu. There are 30 active sites on the island. Kahaluu has 10. So when we're talking about a lot of these sites are under 5 acres, so they're small, they're manageable. The time it takes to talk to a neighborhood of 25 people who have yards, though, it takes a lot of time to reach out to people, schedule those links over short staff. So the best thing that we're trying to do is get the message out there. And if we monitor, I don't know if Chris wants to talk about this. It has got a lot of community support. A lot of those residents are helping pass along the side of the roads and talking to their neighbors. So Chris can give more detail about it.
Hello, Erin. Community member Michelle online. Go ahead, Michelle. Thank you for being patient.
Nothing too.
Sorry, Michelle, your hand is up. Do you have any other community concerns or anything regarding LFA? Okay. Chris, did you want to add anything else to what Erin just said?
Yeah, if anyone is interested in, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so if anyone is interested in maps of the areas of interest in Ahui Manu, I'm happy to share that. Really what we're doing is trying to get word out to those residents in that area for them to test their property themselves. We're also working with the Neighborhood Watch out in Ahui Manu, and they have been going door to door. And they've gotten at least 30 residents on board to have their property tested. And then we're going to be coordinating treatment through the community. That's really how this work is going to be sustainable. Right now, it's me coordinating all of these treatments and surveys with residents. And then I have 1 full-time staff and 1 half-time staff. And at the moment, we have 43 sites around the island. So community involvement is so crucial. That's about all I have to add about that. But if anyone does want maps, I'd be happy to share those with you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Yeah, if there's a link, if you could drop that in the chat, that'd be appreciated, and we can get that out to board members and community hereafter. Any other community concerns not regarding LFA or things we haven't already previously discussed in person?
Hi, everybody. My name is Joe Alvarado. I'm from this area, born and raised. I just wanted to ask and request that the community board here request TOT for an additional hearing for the roundabout. When I was ready to, it was just from on top of the news. And after I got concerns and attentions to it, I was alerted that they did the one community neighborhood board meeting with it April 21st, 2022. When I requested for minutes from that meeting, they didn't have any. I was giving the presentation pamphlets accessible online, but you know, maybe like one more might be a little bit better. Again, being tired of everyone's concerns and possible additional solutions to the situation.
I'm so sorry. Could you spell your name, sir?
John, J-O-N-A.
Oh, last time.
A-B-E-R-I.
Thank you so much. Community online, any other community concerns that we have not previously discussed? Seeing none, moving on in our agenda to board business. Okay, so currently we are meeting here and online hybrid. This is our first time meeting hybrid through Key in over 2 years. So thank you everyone for bearing with us with all of our tech difficulties. We were planning on having the projector here. It wasn't really shooting out properly and we are in a smaller room. So hopefully we can get that a little bit more under control. Part of being able to get that more under control would be moving into a larger room. However, we would have to change our monthly meetings from the second Wednesday of every month. I'll let you chime in on that, to the second Thursday or some other Thursday that he has available. I'm gonna pass it to Uncle John real quick to also have some input on what we can possibly do with that.
I think we spoke with Rainbow Lee this evening. He's the executive
A little bit
director.
louder.
I work in Project Joe, it's a key project. Initially, we've always met in room 102, 103. And we've got a smart board in there. So the pitch that we'd like to meet there again. We have martial arts going on there. We'll have to work that out to keep by themselves, but she agreed to work on that. So we'll keep people posted. That would be ideal. With better sound system, big smart board, we can put things up on screens.
Okay, so board members, are we okay with making do in here until we can get in there? Or do we want to attempt to change the date? And
So I think there needs to be totally opened up. And I think with the rate that and COVID gets about 10%, we just have to automatically do it. Because it makes a difference. We don't have to be telling about it. So all the windows were open, and it was fine room, but I think you gotta watch out what the rate of infection is because it's just, it's not a good idea.
any other discussion from any other board members in person? Uncle Ken, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, thank you.
Okay, so currently,
So just a quick question, kind of follow up on Rocky. Department can help us. If we are in this room, can we get a screen or rearrange to help the situation?
we have a screen. It won't fit or project properly on here. We tried before you all got here.
All right.
So we're in a predicament of this room being limiting. So that's the question is, do we want to move our meeting day and time where we can guarantee being in the large one that has the smart board? Or do we want to just maintain in here until we can get the smart board?
I do have a comment after all.
Okay, 1 second, Uncle Ken, I'm gonna go in person just because you can't see who's here and then I'll come back to you. Enter Rocky.
We have the Canary Bay Regional Council meeting theater. There's a screen that we use. I don't know what screen they use, but they have a screen and we can see who's talking. We have when we meet with Dobar and Canary Bay Regional Council. We have a screen in the room.
And we just said,
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I think space is really important because there's some meeting if involves with property and whatnot, these places. I've been in meetings before that have over 100 people. And right now, we're lucky, this is the crowd. But on regular meetings, like I mentioned, space is so important.
Uncle Ken.
Yeah, just the online perspective. This is working really well, much better than I expected. I don't know if you guys can see me. I'm probably a little tiny thing.
Yeah, we can't see you right now just because we had some difficulties with the projector screen, but granted, this is our first meeting back, so
Yeah.
I think it'll
But
get
anyway,
better as we go.
Yeah, from my perspective, this is great, and this is better than a neighborhood, partner. This is better than a neighborhood commission meeting.
Okay, so then I guess I'll pass it to you, Uncle John, if you can.
I think we want to get an answer very quickly for the project. Within a week. So you get an answer and then cross that other bridge if we have to.
Okay, so I'm gonna put this on to next month's agenda for us to continue the discussion. And until then, we'll be meeting here, if you're coming in person or hybrid online.
And I have one more thing. If anybody is participating virtually, especially city, state officials and so on, They need to submit something in writing to us next week and read it.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. All right, moving on then. Board recess schedule. So we've only been taking one recess in the past 2 terms, a year in December. We actually have 3 allotted recesses. I propose that we definitely take our December recess. Everyone needs that during the holiday season. It's kind of a busy month. There was also a suggestion for a June recess. Because session is over, we will have received the most recent updates at that point, and so there's not a whole lot going on in government in June typically. And then there's also one other recess available. I don't know what people's suggestions are, so board, it's up for discussion. What you guys want to do?
Maybe we shouldn't go out to play so much. We need to work. One recess is probably plenty, maybe 2.
Any other discussion from board members? Any other suggestions?
I like the 1 in December, 1 in June.
Uncle Ken, anything to add?
No, I'll go along with everybody on that.
We need to vote on.
If you guys want to solidify it, we need a motion second.
Okay, does anyone want to put a motion on the floor for the recesses that you would like to take?
Yeah, I'll motion for recess in December and June.
Second.
Second,
Believe so.
will you do a roll call vote? Or just ask for abstention?
Yeah.
Any abstentions?
So we can discuss that.
Yep, we can.
So the problem is that people will get a copy of our schedule and they have a permit approved, they just look for the period of time, there's 8 weeks to 3 meetings in it. So obviously December is going to be a good one for us to see. But I wouldn't necessarily publish June or August.
Okay.
We just have.
Sorry, real quick. If the board does decide to adopt the December and June recess, the NCO doesn't necessarily automatically publish those recesses. It's retained with us until that time comes to put out the mail out. So it's not automatically advertised to the public.
And then like, in December, we have a special meeting because there was interest, right? So we can always do a
Yeah.
special meeting again.
Okay, so the motion on the floor was for a recess in December and June. Discussion is complete. Any abstention? Okay, so Kahaluu Neighborhood Board number 29 will take recess in December of 2023 and June of 2024. Okay, moving on. We need to go over the rules of oral testimony. So currently, for presentations, we have allotted 10 minutes for presenters, and then we do kind of like a loose Q&A, which goes into quite a bit of time. For reports, we're giving 3 minutes for city and state and federal officials. I don't think that's enough time for them, especially during the legislative session. So I think we need to increase that time. So my recommendation is going to be to decrease the presentations from 10 minutes to 8 and put a strict stopper on the amount of Q&A that can occur, like a 1 minute, like if you ask a question, you're limited to 1 minute, 1 minute response, and give the elected officials a 5-minute total report time. And if it is ledge session or there's bills of interest, that we can grant additional time. Community concerns, 2 minutes, I also feel is a little bit short. My recommendation is going to be to increase that to 3, again, with a stricter Q&A time. The question response time being the 1 minute, which I believe is more than sufficient. Board, do you have any discussion on our current time limits and adjustments? No, not sure.
Do these 1 minute response question and answer times really give enough time to have that?
Well, so it's always still going to be at discretion of whoever is chairing the meeting at the time. So, but it's just like a little bit of a set rule for us all to try to keep in time. That we're not just like having an extensive molelo that we've already hashed out previously. I'm all great to give additional time for things that we haven't discussed, additional points, all of those things. But if we're just going to keep repeating things that other board members or other community members said, then, we got to kind of cut it a little bit.
Just to show grace to our community, that's all.
Yeah, no, of course, community is the most important of us being here, which is also why I would like to increase the community concerns portion,
Do
side of things, yeah. Of our,
Yeah, one time when I was on the board, the president, we used to have a timer. So if you said it's 10 minutes on a subject, the timer would hit the 10 minutes. And it'd be up to the board to want to extend. Because the last meeting that we had here, it wasn't done until about 11.
Right.
A good meeting is about 2 hours, from 7 to 9.
Yep.
That's a real good meeting. But when you start going over time, it's even out of the board members. So I think we should look into it because it didn't help, in the past, when the timer was set. So I'm not against over the time, but then the board would make that decision. If we talked about that subject matter long enough.
So Art, we could move this forward to make a rule that the meeting ends at 9 o'clock unless or unanimous votes keep going. Is that kind of what you're saying? You could make that as a vote?
Yeah.
The meeting ends at 9 unless, certain votes in favor of continuing it until Christmas, as long as well, it could be a motion.
did you want to make that motion?
But if you're gonna say the meeting is gonna finish exactly at 9 and you're into the subject and we're gonna cut people, I just want to see us cutting people off. And yet I do not want to see the meetings going on to 11 o'clock like normally just was doing, especially during legislative session, because all of the elected officials, they're tired.
Yeah.
They have to be last, and they should come first on the agenda during.
Yeah, they will be
not last on the agenda.
Yeah.
I think we should go, and I think it's up to the chair to, keep the meeting going and give the limitation of the speakers. If you're 1 minute, you're 1 minute. If you're 2 minutes, you're 2 minutes, and that's it. And that's what they do when you're at the legislative hearing. Your 2 minutes is up, cut, pound. It's up to you to figure out how you're gonna say what you're gonna say in 2 minutes.
Any other discussion? Okay, so I need to make a motion to decrease. Okay, so I'm going to move that we decrease presentation time to 8 minutes from 10. Increase elected official reports and city reports time from 3 minutes to 5. Increase community concerns from 2 minutes to 3. And keep the 1 minute question and response time as is. Any additional discussion? Any abstentions? Great, moving on. Okay, we need to look at creating board committees and chairs. Board, do you have anything you want to throw out there for?
I'd like to suggest that we refer it to the meet that's happening.
Is that motion?
Yeah.
Any abstentions? Great. Defer to next meeting.
Whoa, what was that? What was that? What happened?
Oh, drive me crazy. We're deferring the election of committees and chairs to next meeting.
Oh, okay. You still don't want to get harangued into something.
All right, excellent. We need to approve the meeting minutes from June. Let's just go through this page by page. Anyone have qualms with page 1? Page 2? Seeing none. Page 3? None in person or online, or page 4? Seeing none, partner, do you need to do anything with that?
And if there's any objections or abstentions, if not, minutes passed.
Any objections or abstentions to last month's meeting? All right, June's meeting minutes pass. Excellent. So now we're in our state and federal officials reports. U.S. Congress Representative Betsy is not going to be here today. They submitted a report to me online. Her newsletter came out June 7th, 2023. I have a very long website that you folks can click if you guys want to look at it. I'll put that paper on the back there, and if you could drop that in the chat for me. Military Academy nominations are now being received, and there's another website here if you folks want to nominate someone for that. Rep. Takuda will soon be formally announcing the reformation of a rural health caucus to address issues relating to access to healthcare in remote areas. Rep. Takuda has recently introduced the Rural Health Clinic Burden Reduction Act, which will modernize the 30-year-old law governing rural health clinics to increase operational flexibility for facilities and remove outdated regulations that restrict providers' ability to treat patients. And the Keep Kupuna Fed Act, which would exempt those on Social Security from income eligibility requirements for the SNAP program to ensure that seniors can continue to receive benefits regardless of any future cost of living adjustments to Social Security. And Rep. Takuda voted on legislation that can be tracked here. Again, put that sheet there, back there for everyone that's in person, and partner will drop it in the chat for those that are online. Congresswoman Takuda and her staff are here to help you if you have any issues with the federal agency or need assistance from the federal government. Please contact them, and their contact information is listed below. And she has her website, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and newsletter sign up. I'm not going to take questions on this because I don't work in Rep. Takuda's office and I won't be able to answer your questions. So we're moving on to the governor's representative, Scott Murakami. Are you still with us, Scott?
Hi, everyone. Scott couldn't make it this month, so I'm Lacey Goshi filling in for him.
Thank you, Lacey. Go ahead.
Hi. So on behalf of Governor Green's administration, so since the end of the legislative session in early May, they've enacted 263 bills that work to create safer communities, increase opportunities for educational equity and diversity, and increase housing opportunities. And on that note, they did want to highlight the expansion of the homeowner assistance fund program. So it's expanding eligibility to provide more assistance for Hawaii's homeowners. It provides essential mortgage assistance to homeowners who experience financial hardship caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. So the program expanded in 4 ways. Maximum assistance amount per household increased to $60,000 from $30,000. Forward non-outstanding payment mortgage assistance is available for up to 12 months from 6 months. Homeowners do not have to be delinquent to qualify for assistance, and reverse mortgage homeowners are now eligible. So to find out more about the program, you can visit dbed.hawaii.gov/HHFDC, and I can put the link in the chat after I'm done. And then also just to follow up on some outstanding issues from previous meeting. So it was asked about the timing of the roundabout at Kahikili Highway and Kamehameha Highway by the hygienic store. So the update is that construction began June 7th. The estimated completion is February or March of 2025. The project will also include paving where the previous Kahikili Highway repaving left off. As for the status of the Waiahole and Waikani bridge replacement, so the bridge replacement will be advertised for bids this December. Following completion of the environmental documentation and work on Waiahole Bridge, DOT will advertise the Waikani Bridge project, and the current estimate to go out to bid for Waikani is December 2027. It was also noted that the Waiahole Valley Road and Kamehameha Highway, the striping was good, but people are parking on the Kohuku side of Waiahole Valley Road where it meets Kamehameha Highway. People are parking on the grassy area, obstructing the line of sight when you're heading in the Ko'olauloa direction. So the update from DOT is that the inspector has investigated the site distance concerns at Waiahole Valley Road and will check regularly to see if parking there is a problem. And they did want to note that if there are safety concerns, they can be reported to DOT through dotpao@hawaii.gov, and I can put that in the chat as well. And lastly, there was a request for Director Sniffen to join the Kahaluu Neighborhood Board to talk about traffic safety in Kahaluu. So DOT came back saying that they will coordinate a safety briefing through their representative to the board, Mel Chung. So I think that's it for the follow-ups that I know of from your previous meeting. And then I've also made note about the fire ant issue. I'll bring that forward to the governor's office as well. That's it for my report.
Hello, Lacey. Board members in person, anything for Lacey? Uncle Ken?
Yeah, did they mention the water buffalo being approved so that they, because that calf is getting old and you can't train them if the bureaucracy takes too long to give the approval. And they have a system that can be taught to others so that we can preserve a tradition instead of let it die on the vine. So do you have anything on that?
No, I don't, but I can follow up.
Please do. Please do. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Community, anything for Lacey?
I heard the governor's speech today in Congress, and if what Ken just said about the buffalo, it's you gotta practice what you preach, because the governor did talk about the AHPA system, and the buffalo has a lot to do with the AHPA system with the farmers. You can take that message to the governor.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Community
Yay,
members?
Rocky.
Seeing none. Oh, and Rocky.
Yeah, I have something else. The ES State Park. You know, we the community, John, remember this time, in the 70s, we were the ones who pushed to have that made into a public state park. If you look on the agenda for it's not even on their website, it doesn't say ES State Park, it's under something else. There were just 4 days open for public use, because the rest of the days in July was all private use. This is not supposed to be a private park. This is a public park for our community. And, you know, I think the governor should look into it. When is it going to come back to the public for public park? Because it is supposedly he is state park for the public. Mahalo.
Interaction.
I'll add that as well.
Board members, community in person, seeing none. Mahalo for joining us, Lacey.
Thank you.
Moving on in our agenda to Senator Brenton Awa, who's in the room with us. Senator?
So, couple things with HK, the cooperative that Vince came in, he got the Jardine, for anybody who doesn't know, is my new office manager. She took that, it was complained, she called the city. City said Department of Planning permitting over, gave 2 violations to HK Construction. One, for not having the best practices, inefficient best practices of erosion and sedimentation, and the other one for grading without permit. We're also waiting on our Corps of Engineers to see if the community can get involved with that survey. Little fire event, not about fires, but coconut rhinoceros beetle, you may have seen on the news, one of our constituents, Daniel Anthony, has teamed up with North Shore Stables to create mulch piles, use pigs and chickens to eat the beetles. And they're going to take these mulch piles to hot spots. Hopefully, we start in our district. There's a hot spot in Kahaluu. So we're just trying to connect people right now with them. The Department of Agriculture is in full support of it. So we'll see what happens with it. If you don't use it, anybody wants to see that story, just Google pigs. Let's see what else we got. Wild Bullet leaks the governor's extension for their negotiations. Comes up this Friday, and tomorrow morning is the meeting at the HHFBC, the state agency that manages the leases. In that meeting, the executive director will be presenting what they are going to do unless they have any kind of anybody on the board saying that they don't want it. Basically, the deal that John then got, I don't know the stipulations part of it, the deal that John then got with the Mahi agreement, 3 times increase, will be offered to all residents
who have not signed yet, and the ones who actually have signed too. That's based off of last meeting last week when the HHFBC came out here to Waiahole and heard from the residents of the all of that. So we have all kind of things we're trying, the safety net plan for subsidies, but there was just too much, I guess, not enough people wanted that and signed up. So we're going back to the board and telling the board that we're going to offer everybody 3 times. They think that most people on. Vizio was already mentioned. Just want to thank the Kahaluu Mountain Watershed Partnership, which has been moving up from Kahaluu. See a lot of dead trees along Main Street. It's a big problem, obviously. I can explain to you guys why it's a problem. And then lastly, just want to thank Jessie. She was working in her office, did a great job. So obviously, you got a good chair. Really appreciate it. And everybody else for serving.
Board members, any questions for Senator Awa? Concerns? Board members online, any questions? Oh, Ken, go ahead.
Yeah, the neighbors of the HK property are complaining that they're not complying with the what do you call, sand and dirt, wind barrier that's supposed to go up, shade cloth vertically, it's supposed to go up around the property. And so they're wondering if you can look into that. I mean, I kind of like it because we can see what they're not doing and what they are doing. But the permits do require that they have the shade cloth up, or I forget, barrier. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Ken. Community, any questions or concerns for Senator Awa?
Sure, can I just answer real quick?
Yeah.
Hi Ken, so they got cited already for not having, best management practices for that erosion sedimentary control. They got cited. And they got cited.
It's this cloth, the visual barrier and wind barrier and dust.
Yeah, they got cited for that already. An inspector
okay.
They got cited for that, and then also for grading without a permit.
Okay,
and then
great.
from the Department of Health is gonna go check on like the illegal dumping parts of it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Member Jardine. Community online, anything to add? Sure.
I wanted to, I think it's the idea of like chicken and pigs in the mulch eating stuff is super cool. But I'm also anxious to make sure that the appropriate government agencies are still taking on appropriate responsibility. And so if there's like other ways that, like if it does turn out to be cool, like really putting weight into that or making sure that there's people tracking to find out whether or not it's working, I think that it's like too urgent of a thing for us to just try some stuff and then it takes a long time to decide if it's working and it takes a long time to see how it goes. So I'm interested to, I'm stoked that people are talking about it, but I think a lot more. I think both for CRPs and
Seeing no other hands up, gonna move on to Representative Lisa Kitagawa. Thank you so much, Senator Awa, for joining us. Rep Kitagawa, do we have you or Jen, someone from the office? Seeing none, if someone else signs on, we can circle back. Moving on in our agenda, we are going to community topics and we have a presentation this evening for the SMA major permit application from Planning Solutions.
Yeah, that's me.
Hi.
My name is Jim Hayes with Planning Solutions. I sent a PowerPoint to the chair of the board. I don't know if that got distributed to the board
So
members.
it didn't, we were trying to project it and we had some issues. We're gonna attempt to like throw it up on that white wall. Yeah, we're gonna attempt to throw it up on that.
I have it on my computer, if that doesn't work, people are interested, there's no glass in the presentation.
Yeah.
But,
Feel free to come up if you'd like as well. You can put that period. That's easier for you.
Take me a sec.
So this is a SMA.
Come up and you can put your computer up here. Sorry, we're working with our limited tech. And
Yeah.
let everyone know who you are and I'll start your computer.
Is it,
Okay.
is it going?
I don't think it's.
Not yet. I didn't turn it on yet.
Do I need to turn off the light over?
Yeah, it would help.
We'll try. You have it going.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, yeah, thanks, everybody. My name is Jim Hayes with Planning Solutions. Thanks to the board for putting us on the agenda tonight. This is a residential project seeking a special management area permit. And the address is 47-83 Kamehameha Highway, which is, you guys from the neighborhood, probably know where it is. There's a map in the presentation if that comes up. But it's along the shoreline, and for those that are unfamiliar with the rules related to the special management area, there was recently a change in the rules. So I don't know if other residential projects have come before this board, but it's common that we do this for projects on the North Shore, along the only highway, over on the east side, all around, west side, everywhere. If you're on the shoreline and you're building a residence, you need an SMA major permit, no matter how big the project is or how small the project is. So this is just one of many residential projects around the island that are required to get SMA permit. So trying to think of what I can tell you without the presentation. But the project is along Kamehameha Highway. It's a lot that is level with the highway, and then there's a relatively steep slope down to Kaneohe Bay. So the developable portion of the property is at an elevation of roughly 35 feet above sea level. So unlike a lot of other shoreline projects, the elevation of the site is relatively high. It's not exposed to wave action or tidal action influences. It is not in what we call the sea level rise exposure area. And for those reasons, it's also not in a flood zone, whereas many other shoreline properties are in what they call the DB flood zone. But this site is not in the flood zone. We get close.
Yeah, we're getting there. Sorry, technical difficulty.
I'll keep going on about this. But because of all those factors of not being in the flood zone, not being in the select zone, this site is relatively not influenced by coastal hazards. So this is just our introductory slide, and in advance, here's the project site. So project site, parcel 82 along Kamehameha Highway there. The shaded area in pink is the special management area. So all the residences along the highway there are in the SMA. The ones that are on the Mackay side of the highway will all need SMA permits if they're modified or rebuilt, such as the proposal here. So we can go down to the next slide. And this is, it should be.
There we go.
There we go. So this is a aerial photograph of the site. You can see residences on both sides. Currently, this site is undeveloped. Previously, there was a residence on the parcel. The residence was removed sometime, I think, in the 90s. So it's been vacant for quite a while. It's maintained, as you can tell, the grass is cut and the trees are taken care of. And here, but as I mentioned earlier, this whole area up here is level, relatively level with the highway. And then from about here on, there's a pretty good slope down to the water. So like I said, it's livable portion about 35 feet above sea level. Go down to the next slide. This is the, coming up there, that's the view from the site. You can see on the right side of the photograph, in front of the palm trees, there's a wall. That's a former foundation of the residence that was there previously. Then on the other side of the trees, there's a steep slope down to the water. And it's been like that for many decades now. And down to the next slide. So this is a schematic of the proposed development. As you can see, it's all on the highway side of the property. I was talking earlier about the sclerexa that appears in some of the hatching, and then the shoreline setback is in the other hatching. It's a 40-foot setback. So all of the proposed improvements are more than 40 feet from the shoreline. It's a 2-level structure. I think, let's see, go to the next one. This is a rendering of what the development would look like. It is a single-family house. It's a large parcel, so it's a fairly good-sized house. It's not exceeding any of the land use regulations. So as far as number of bathrooms, number of bedrooms, the lot coverage, the height, all of those factors are within the land use ordinance. And of course, all behind the shoreline setback. And I think that's the end of my presentation. So the process from here is that we will submit an application to the Department of Planning and Permitting. They will start processing it. There will be a hearing somewhere in the community, either in this location or somewhere nearby. People that are within, I believe, 500 feet of the project will receive a notice of the hearing, and it will also appear in the newspaper. After the hearing, the project will go to the city council. There'll be a committee hearing at the city council, and then there'll be a hearing of the full council, at which point the decision is made.
Mahalo, Jen. Board members, questions? Uncle John?
Jim, I wonder if you describe what's, for you, you've been to the property, you've seen it. What's the biggest asset of this property or the property?
The biggest asset?
Yeah.
In terms of, like, if I was buying it, what's the biggest asset? Well, I mean, the view is wonderful.
It's full of stat, because what do you think the biggest asset of our community is for that property? Exact same thing. When that house goes in, the view is gone. That's a promontory where you can see pretty much the whole of Red Bay, from all the way around to the pool. It's like the only site left. So if you were the head of the Trust for Public Lands, you came to express that value. And let's get this off the market. Let's turn it into that one place where you can see all the time you get. Would that be kind of exciting? Because that's my dream. That's always been my dream for that property, because I'm just speaking for myself. But we don't need one more house. We don't need, the community needs the view. The community needs that connection. In ancient times, that was probably why it was such a city. So that's a view. Everything. And I just want to put that out there that, you know, I live in Waipouli. We battled constant threat of development in Lukaisen. And I went to Bill Wittenbach, who was a realtor, Dan Case, who was the lawyer for Elizabeth Marks. And I expressed my dreams. Dreams set aside this land and we turned back into what it once was, lovely shoreline area this one. Bill Wittenbach had a great laugh. And then he went off to San Francisco, and he called me from San Francisco from a hospital bed. He was going through some kind of surgery. So what was the name of that outfit you mentioned, that's got the Trust for Public Land or houses? All right, down there, obviously, Albert Street or something. Today, 2 miles of shoreline, 100 acres were set aside with the help of the trust. I put this out there, I put this out there now with you, to the landowner, and to the whole community, is that sometimes the public value of property is so much greater than the individual value that might be applied to it. So let's go pursue that. What's the dollar amount that the owner wants, so we can take that off the market once and for all? Retire any development rights to it. With you. You know where I'm gonna go on this.
Problem, John. Board members, anybody else? And Hiraki?
How long have you owned that property?
Oh, I don't know that. I'm representing the owner who's proposed to build a house there.
To me, it looks like one of those monster houses. It's just gonna be one of those.
Oh, no. It's not.
Another comment I want to make. A few years ago, we did the Ahapua, boundary markers for the island. Actually, we started at Oahu, Oahu, then we went to the whole island of Oahu. But the owner there had us take the Ahapua sign out because it was in his view. And that right there, that is the borderline for the Ahapua. That was where it's supposed to have been. Another thing, that spot where we at is also in Ahu. Did you know it's in Ahu, the sacred place? These are the things that you have to know. So you gotta look at the cultural aspect of it, and there's also, I think there's also a law, it's called the Kapa'akai ruling, that you should look into. Yeah, so look into that too, because of this, what I'm telling you about it, the culture part of it.
We've had an archaeologist survey the site, and they prepared a report which has been submitted to the State Historic Preservation Division. We reached out to people via letters to seek input on the projects from Native Hawaiian organizations and other entities that are frequently consulted when we're doing projects like this. We haven't received any response from those inquiries, but we have done quite a lot of research. And if people are interested, when the SMA permit application is submitted, it will be a substantial application document that reviews historic resources, cultural resources, biological resources, view planes, and the like. So it's kind of like an environmental assessment.
Who's your archaeologist?
ASM.
Okay. You don't know the name of the archaeologist?
Nick.
I'm also the chair of the Ahamoku. I'm also the state chair for Ahamoku.
Yeah, we sent a letter to the Ahamoku.
Yes. I'm just letting you know for any building, because you know where I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. Yeah, I would just say that the proposal is consistent with the land use on all the surrounding sites and with the zoning that's throughout the community there.
Member Jardine?
Yeah, I have several questions, so I'm just gonna go one at a time to give you time to answer. Okay, first, the landowner is Dream Home Trust, is that intentional?
I don't know.
Yeah, because see, that's
So
the
weird.
client.
I asked that question and they said that's the correct spelling.
Okay, but no explanation on why that is, that's interesting. Okay.
I have no idea. But you'll see that the title on the agenda tonight is the Scherzinger residence.
Right.
Yeah.
And is that a local family, by chance?
It is
Are they Hawaiian, do you know?
part Hawaiian.
Hawaiian, is that the singer?
Yes.
It is the singer, okay. Is she aware of the cultural significance of the area?
Yes, and she's done her own consultation with people in her family and the Native Hawaiian community that she is a part of.
Okay, has she consulted with the Native Hawaiian community of this Ahupua?
She is tried to, yes.
Okay, because Antiraki is generational from this Ahupua, so she would know all of the different stories and everything about that area.
You should also be contacting the Kahaluu families also, generational family. Yes.
This is recommendation.
Okay.
Just a recommendation for her to consider. The last time we discussed this in December, I think it was you, Antiraki, and Donna that brought up Board of Water Supply was gonna build a water station there, but they abandoned the project. So it's worth touching base with Board of Water Supply
They were included in our,
to see why that was. So any potential snags that they ran into, you are aware of as a consultant. Again, just a recommendation. And there was one more. So you said Nick did the archaeological inventory survey?
there, well, I mean, this is a
Nick
kind of,
Nick Paluzzo from ASM?
yes.
Okay, yeah, I know Nick. So he only did the archaeological inventory survey. He didn't do a cultural impact assessment?
There is, well, first off, it's not an environmental, it's not an inventory survey because there are no resources on the project site, so it's just a literature review. But he did visit the site. And like I said, we've reached out to native wine organizations.
Can you list those, please?
Yeah, could you list those?
I mean, I don't have it on the top of my,
Could you email it to us, when you, yeah, please? That would be helpful. Because Antioch used to be the president of the Folau Hawaiian Civic Club.
Yeah.
And that's a Hawaiian group in our community.
I'm sure we sent that, a letter to that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it would be nice to have a list of those specific groups or whoever they are. And then do you folks plan to do a cultural impact assessment for the property?
Well, what we've been trying through reaching out to the native wine organizations and researching the history of the site. Given the fact that it's a resident property and the use is consistent, been used for that purpose in the past, and the proposed use is consistent with the zoning, the level of effort that we've undertaken is commensurate with the situation.
Okay, so no cultural impact assessment in the environmental assessment.
Separate report but there have been efforts made to contact people knowledgeable about the area.
Okay, and did you see our resolution from December and our requests?
I was not here in December. I don't know.
Well, we sent it to your planner, Julia, the sheet.
Oh, yeah, okay, we saw that.
Okay, yeah, yeah, and then we made a recommendation to send all of this documentation to all these different agencies, the legislators. Is that gonna be done as well?
When the application is submitted to DPP, well, we've already reached out to a large number of people. But then again, when the application is submitted to DPP, they route the information to another large group of people. And it goes to the city council and all the people that are relevant to the decision making.
Thank you. Member Masterson?
When was your first time on that site?
My first time was probably 6-7 months ago.
There's been a lot of activity in several years before that, from general grubbing, grading, and the building of this wall. Those more concerning. When we visit on the wall, it's like the space in between. Oftentimes there were awful stone piles. In this case, I remember one or two big giant stones, maybe two big giant stones. They were always there. They speak very loudly in that way, but and is reminiscent of the I stones that are the fishing stones in different places. Not that I can confirm that, but I always wondered about those. Are they still there? They left, didn't they? They went somewhere. They got taken and moved away from the sacred space. So to say there's no cultural anything on this site, so it was just a literature review is wrong. And I think it belies the situation. I'll leave it over.
We looked at historic photographs from the area. And like I said, there had previously been a residence on the site. There wasn't any evidence that there had been something physically on the site, such as what you're speaking of. Yeah, and then they built the wall. That was all done by previous owners. So I don't have knowledge about the details.
So that's where the boulders went, for the retaining wall, ocean side.
On the ocean side. So that was a new retaining wall in the pictures that we got. Remember that either. Weird, why did all this stuff happen over there?
When they put up that black top, yeah, that's when they build a wall.
Exactly, when they put up their screen.
It'd be all one like, nobody see that wall. Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. But if you go to the ocean, we stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, you can feel.
So the house would stand out even more if you were to stand where.
Because now,
Come
you
on,
get
remember?
that's property tax all around you now.
Yeah, I'll put
Property tax went up.
Auntie Rocky.
Yeah, I just have a question. What is your name again?
My name is Jim Hayes.
We just want to educate you on the area, because since you're new to the area, and you said you're familiar with the Kapa Akai ruling, the Supreme Court ruling, so that you, so that if it isn't, you know that there is an Act 106 that you have to follow, right?
That's only for federal programs.
Okay, well, we're gonna push it on, because when you do, you know, do your homework, you're gonna have to, if you're gonna do an environmental impact, or culture stuff, survey on, you're gonna have to interview people from the area. I don't know which organizations you gotta hold up. You said you gotta hold up the Hawaiian organizations. Could you tell me which one? And then
I will send a list, but I don't have the list in front of me.
when you do the interview, or we do the EIS, you have to interview families from the area, culture, actually generational families. And we're gonna have to do the borderline. It's a borderline. It's an Ahaku, boundary line between India and Kahaluu. You're gonna have to talk with people from both the Ia Ahapua and the Kahaluu Ahapua. You're fortunate because in this room, you have people from both Ia Ahapua and Kahaluu Ahapua. But that's your responsibility before you do it. You're gonna have to contact and put that on your EIS statement that you did contact these people from the area.
Okay.
Auntie Rocky. Second member
I
Machado.
just wanted to touch base on what John said earlier, the view. Born and raised right around the corner from that property. Lived there my entire life, right? I grew up there. We used to climb down that hill. It wasn't really fenced off when I was a kid. You could see clearly through. And we used to play there, do all of that kind of stuff. And ever since that black sheet went up, and everything got closed behind all of the plants, the monstera, get the plumeria, get the areca palms, everything is hiding now. And it doesn't feel right to like any of us, including the fact that like before, for example, when tourists would be driving by, that was the first thing they saw when they came around that corner, right? And they would pull over right there because that was like, it invited them, right? They had a space to pull over and park and get out of their car and take their picture. Now they come around that blind turn and the next spot is right in between two houses. There's two houses right after that property and then there's an opening and then they see Fanagan's hat. And you know what they do now? They stop in the middle of the road. And it's a blind turn and like us locals, like I'm generational, that's my grandfather right there, you know what I mean? Like we've been there. And now it's becoming more and more dangerous, and it's because you guys took over the view, not you. You're the messenger. I understand that. You're not here for him. It is, we're here to talk to you because you're the one that's gonna take our message back. And ever since then, it's just like there was no reason. You guys not building right now, but then all of a sudden now we know they're doing retaining walls behind that thing. I never knew that wall was there. When I was a kid, I could climb from the ocean up that hill. No problem. Had a picnic bench right there underneath the monkey pot tree, right next to the road. People would stop, like locals, the community, we would stop. We'd go over there and eat lunch. Discuss, oh, nice day, check it out. But everything shut down. And that's what concerns the people like us, is because as soon as the black tarp pulls up, we don't know what's going on. He's talking about potential secret stones, like, to people not from here, the stones don't mean nothing, but they just rocks. But to us, we never had all of those things. We had what we had. For thousands of years, the Hawaiian people had what we had. We believed in it. We put our faith in it, our mana into it. And then just to have a black tarp go up and it's removed. And without anybody's knowledge, without anybody's understanding, like it causes for us to stand up against. So like that's why like Auntie Rocky is asking all these questions about who did you guys try to contact in the Native community? Who did you guys try to contact in our individual Ahupuas? Because we don't know what the people there and what they did. We didn't know about it. But now you're just gonna move in and of course that's gonna cause people like us to stand up against. Like that's why it's so important So the question she's asking, the question she's asking, for your, who's that, like your boss or whoever, but your client should have thought about it, especially because he is claiming to be native. Like, you gotta know at least some part of your heritage and understand it. You gotta ask the right questions before you just start making moves because it's your dream home. Yeah, we all wanted our dream home, but we got what we have and we make do. And then somebody else raised the other problem. You build that house. My property taxes went up like 3 times in the last 3 years. You build that house there, it's going up again because it's right on the border of my Kahaluu. Right there. And like, I'm a working man. Like, I have a small business that I own and operate, and I work very hard to keep my family going and keep up with that kind of stuff. So the generational people of the land are gonna get continuously moved off. And that's what all of our collective concerns are really, is do the people that you are representing today even truly, or did they just want to build their dream home in front of the sandbar? Just so that they could make Instagram posts about how life is so awesome for them, while the rest of us gotta fit the bill. So like, that's just something that I'm feeling, you know? So I just wanted to share that with you. But once again, you're the messenger, so no ill will toward you. That's just very passionate.
I understand, and I can relay that the family that is proposing the project has an interest in retaining the Hawaiian knowledge and learning the culture of this Ahupua'a and working with the residents and within her family to encourage, not within just their family, but hopefully broadly, but focused on their family because it is a family home, focused on the family, that they are able to continue that legacy within their family as a Native Hawaiian family. So I can't say more for her at this point, but that it is part of their desire.
Mahalo, Second Member Machado, and then moving on to Member Raccoon, and I'll take Member Jardine, and then I will go to community.
Also, one man last at the federal level, they translated down to state.
That's where the estimate comes from.
The estimate comes from that, right? In that language, you know, gone through that language, and there's a principle of cumulative impact. And the cumulative impact of development in the SMA from Pioneer Bay is that we have lost view lanes, we've lost public access, we've lost what the special management area is supposed to be protecting. I think that's what this is about. Several said is this is the straw that will break the camel's back. This is the cumulative impact that will destroy that whole strip. You'll not be able to see the bay from that kind of perspective. Any other with any other problem. You move to the right, left, you're looking at half the bay. I think that's an important principle. You know, that's not just a principle in the law. I think it's our collective responsibility as a community, as an island community, to respect things that do something to consider. We're down to the very last property. We are very proud of property on Robinson. So I want to just make that appeal to the landowner. She really want that view. Take her hiking up.
Member Jardine?
Yeah, I just want to get clarification. So you're done talking to Native Hawaiian organizations and you're not going to continue doing that anymore?
I think my client is always interested in talking to Native Hawaiian organizations. We have reached out to Native Hawaiian organizations. We did not receive responses.
Okay.
So we are proceeding with the application process. But like I said, their family is interested in continuing these conversations and being aware of the cultural resources in this Ahupua'a.
I would strongly recommend reaching out to Tola Hawaiian Civic Club once more, along with Nancy Rocky here and any other ohana that she recommends.
Okay.
If she would be familiar, you could please pass it along to her. That's all, thank you.
One second, I just want to add to Member Jardines, in that request, we'd like to see either timestamp emails and or certified mail copies of this. Well, then we need some kind of confirmation that these supposed Native Hawaiian organizations were contacted through the proper channels. But I find it hard to believe that if you're putting out for a SMA movement permit, that you wouldn't send something certified.
It's not common practice to do that.
It's common practice for any important documentation. So if you don't have certified mail copies, then timestamp emails, phone calls, who you spoke to, and the names of the organizations would be greatly appreciated. Member Masterson.
Just real quick, in response to some of the 77 family members of Sheriff Broadley, are they planning on living there, or are you saying this might be a rental kind of?
No, they plan to live there. It would not prevent.
Just see how that way, so Sheriff Broadley, understand within that community.
Yeah, they have a large family, hence it's a large residence. But like I said earlier, it's not a monster home. It doesn't have that many bedrooms, but it's meant to be a place where their family can gather for meals and conversations as part of their hobby.
Nancy Rocky, and then
Just two statements. You said you did contact Kahaluu. I didn't hear anything about it. I'm the chair for the state. So could we, might you try and contact us again? Maybe I
We
might.
can try. I think we sent an email and the mailbox is full, or we.
No, our mailbox is always open to our people. Just
We did
call the
try.
Department of Land and Natural Resources. They give you the number. I can give you the number right now.
Oh, no, my number.
Okay, and then for your client's dream home, and if she is Hawaiian, tell her, on a place like that, and she's not doing the appropriate thing, she does not want to, I can imagine her dreams, she does not want to have the wrong kind of dreams. She knows what I'm talking about, and we can get it for her also.
Okay.
the community in the room, anyone?
Are you?
Can you acknowledge? Sorry, Flora, I'll come to you after. I'm doing community in the room and then I'll come to you.
Community?
I'm for the company, I live in and really six. I think important, something important to take into account is culturally important, and how would be. That is a spot that if you cross from A to be something, if there's, that's a long states there's a hail there, you read. It most likely would have been a Kupila.
Yeah. The louder, they kind of say louder, come to the. Come to the mic.
Most likely because the Kahaluu are fishing towns would have been a Kupila for fishing, and that's, if you're mentioning ice stones, Kupila stones, we have old legends about why that's so important. They got rid of Kupila, they got rid of they tried to get rid of that family, and nobody got fish anymore. So that's something we keep really dear to us, is to follow those mo'olelo come out, because that guides the future. And when stuff starts going wrong, you look back, okay, the ice stones are gone, the Kupila's gone, okay, why is all the fish in the bay gone? Why are these things dying? Why in the bay no more color anymore? There's no coral, there's no even. Maybe we weren't respecting that part of our culture that much. Maybe if these things can be told to Ms. Scherzinger, maybe she'll get a change of heart, and maybe we can do Uncle John's. Maybe we can get it back. It is a very cultural important place. The view is nice, but for me, growing up there, hearing stories from my grandfather, and even hearing from Auntie Rocky, hearing about the Aku there, how much fishing there. That's where you keep your biggest fish, your best fish on that exact point. So I just wanted to put that out there. Maybe that.
Another great family to reach out to. Probably.
Joe, and then I'm gonna go to Flora online.
One of the things that I remember during the presentation was that the space was clear, or that the space is currently clear, and but This is just my knowledge, I'm not for anything. My family lives in Portugal for now. The Kahaluu is something that like we make, but it's where it is because of the place. And an Kahaluu can be rebuilt, even if it's gone right now, that doesn't mean that the space is open, right? Like the space is important. The other thing that I wanted to say is,
Climate change managed retreat, there's a terrible place to build a house, stop building things that look to the ocean. Even if it's permeable, doesn't mean it's a good idea.
And that's, you know,
Mahalo, Joe. Flora, you have the floor.
Is the zoning on this property still Ag 2?
No, the zoning is R5, I believe.
Really?
And the whole residents all up and down the highway there, it's all residential zones. There, Ed?
Yeah, historically, we've opposed any applications for the special management area permit, specifically 10 years ago. And there are a lot of reasons why we opposed development of that. And it had to do with the, John, did you call it a riparian zone or something? Anyway, it had to do with the water flow down the hill. And there was illegal work in that area. And so we were successful 10 years ago in denying or influencing the denial of that special management area permit. But it seems like 10 years later, they're coming back for development. And we have more reasons to oppose this than just the cultural significance. There's environmental concerns as well. So is this family, is this a Kimura family? No? 10 years ago. Huh?
Scherzinger, Flora.
Oh, never mind. Never mind. Okay. Okay, I'm Paul, Chair, I'm Paul.
Mahalo, Flora. Flora, if you would do us all a favor, and if you have those rezos or those documentations of previous board opposition, if you could forward it to us and the reasons for that, I would appreciate it.
I think it was, I don't have the documents, but I know a strenuous opposition because of the desecration of that site and the removal of the pohaku.
Okay, mahalo, Flora.
We have records of that meeting. Yeah.
Okay, mahalo, Flora.
I'm not sure if this is where I asked this question, but the picture of that home, I'm her neighbor.
Yep.
My husband and I are the neighbor on the side. And I see the garage is right next to 4 bedrooms, which means every time a car starts, we're gonna hear it because our bedrooms are 3 feet away from the wall, because it's a very old home. It was built in, so his grandfather, in the 40s. And so we're grandfathered in, so our walkway isn't even 3 feet. Then there's a wall, and I saw 2 large palm trees between the garage, or I'm not sure. The palm trees are rock wall in our rooms. So where in this process, if it does get back passed, I agree with everybody. As far as cultural place. But where would I bring a concern that a garage where cars start are right next to bedrooms and tall trees are being installed? Because due to my insurance, they ask, is there a tall tree within 100 feet of your home? Because I can be denied insurance for home through USAA. So that would be another concern of mine. And then I also would like to know what that house looks like. Is there a recording studio? Is there an extra, like, just kind of, could you tell us just what it looks like or what it's gonna be like? I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be beautiful.
The it's a pretty standard looking residence on the drawings, and there'll be a full set of drawings in the SMA application. The house is set back, it has at least a 5-foot yard between the property line and that you share with that.
5-foot yard?
Yeah, that's the.
Is that, is that 5 feet or?
No, but I think it's larger than that, that's the requirement. And I think the design is bigger than that. I'd have to look and measure exactly. But you will be notified of the hearing that will be conducted in the community. And then you can, I will note your concerns and comments in the application, and then attend the hearing as well.
You could ask her to move that garage and those big trees away.
I will pick that up.
I don't want.
No, this is the place to have that discussion. Mahalo community. Yeah, this is definitely the place to raise those concerns. I believe that I want to thank Jim for his presentation, thank the board, thank the community. I think we have all expressed our concerns. Do I have a motion on the floor regarding this presentation or any deferrals?
Yeah, but I'd like to motion to not support the SMA application.
Any discussion, board? Any continued discussion?
Second.
Oh, it's meant me.
Oh.
Any abstentions? Okay, the motion passes. The Kahaluu Neighborhood Board will not support the SMA major permit for the Scherzinger residence. Moving on to the city, state, federal reports. Oh, okay. Sorry, Kalamai, everyone. So on the agenda, we had the installation of the shoulder parking lanes on Waihe'e Road. Unfortunately, they're not able to make their presentation tonight. They will email us their information and we can reach out to them for our districts. Okay, moving on to city and state federal reports. Kaneohe Marine Corps Base.
Good evening, everybody. Gunner Sergeant Orlando Perez here. Major Fox and I are sharing responsibilities for the neighborhood board, so we're excited to be out here. This is my first time with the Kahaluu neighborhood board, so thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So sorry we kept you waiting.
Oh no, not a problem. It's always good to kind of hear what the community has to say, and I like to take my notes as well. So I appreciate just being able to be in attendance. A couple things to pass. Just a reminder: this Sunday we have the 2023 John D. Capico Canoe Regatta going on Sunday. Opening remarks are at 7:45 with the races starting at 08. Base access is open to competitors, club members, and spectators as long as they have a valid government ID. So we welcome and we hope to see everybody out there. It should be a fun event for the whole family. I do want to take this opportunity to bring up an upcoming noise advisory on July 20th and 22nd. We're going to have 5 F-18 fighter jets. They're going to be making a quick stop in their transition to the Indo-Pacific region. They should be arriving on the 20th and departing on the 22nd. We're not used to having this kind of aircraft in the area, so some loud obviously jet noises will be expected. We appreciate everybody's patience as they transition from here and go to their final destination. We'll be sure to post an advisory as well as that date approaches. Lastly, I think it was already mentioned, but Marine Corps Base Hawaii leadership had the opportunity to participate in the Kaneohe Bay Culture Tour. So thank you, Auntie Rocky and Auntie Mahialani, who led the tour. It was a great opportunity for the new base commander, Colonel Bevan, his staff members, myself included, to kind of really take an opportunity to appreciate just the different, the region and the different cultural significance it has to everybody. So thank you, Auntie Rocky, again. That was a phenomenal opportunity that we all got to share together. We also have a July newsletter that we just published last week. I'll be sure to share that in the group chat so everybody can see it. And then pending any questions, that's all I have for the base.
Mahalo. Board members, any questions for MCBH? Board members online, any questions for MCBH? Community in the room? Community online?
Seeing none. Mahalo so much for joining us. We look forward to having you on our future meetings.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to WCC, Chancellor Artist Eschenberg. Artist, are you still with us? Sorry, it's so late.
I'm here. Good evening, everyone. I just have one quick announcement I'll share with everyone. It's been interesting, and one possible idea as well. So the first is that this fall we'll have our uh, Hawaii Academy for the Performing Arts, Conservatory for the Performing Arts open up, and that is a one-year certificate in theater. It is a competitive conservatory style education. They've auditioned students, and there are articulation agreements both internationally with East 15th in London as well as nationally. And of course, they can move on within the UH system. So we're really excited to be offering that and take advantage of the film and creative media industry that we have here on Oahu and the other islands and provide job opportunities in acting for our students. There's a focus on Native Hawaiian and local productions within our conservatory. The other idea is, as we're talking about invasive species, myself and Chair Kane from the neighborhood board from Waimanalo, we've been talking also if this isn't an opportunity to engage some of our community members and our students in research and monitoring. So Uncle John, I'm gonna contact you about that. I got a couple ideas I want to run by you if you don't mind. So I just think that this could be another place where it really should be our community that has a say in both what we do and how we do it when these things are happening, because that's who it's impacting. And it's also an opportunity to really inspire more students into science that impacts them and their families. Okay, that's all I got. Mahalo.
Mahalo, artists. Board members, anything for artists?
Thanks, artists.
Board members online? Seeing none. Community in person? Seeing none. Community online? Mahalo, artists. Okay, Uncle Cliff, Kaneohe Bay Regional Council.
You had a first meeting. How wasn't that important? But nothing that's interesting. That, that came actually, report this is in the last 2 weeks.
So they have started the Baywatch, Kaneohe Baywatch.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
like the show.
She was at the pier Saturday, and they got my Lico went out there with Christy, and the Diana was there, and they finally cited 2 illegal commercial guys. And you know that the bill 1134 did pass already, so 2 guys were ticketed, and Lico was saying that I guess they're training the young guys to be in bunkers, so they're like speed the car in front of them, give them the stink eye. But that's okay. The main thing is we're finally doing something to the illegal tourism in Kaneohe Bay. And with the Makai Watch, and they're looking for some more volunteers for the Makai Watch, by the way. You can contact Casey Chin. You guys got her number, right?
No, I can.
Yeah, they want some more to work with the DLNR on weekends.
Email it to Daka, so she can send it out. Yeah.
They'll be good. And then, I'm on the nerve to the National Historic Resource Reserve, and we're working in partnership with the DLNR guys. Actually, we're gonna restore the cameras on here, kept here. The cameras need fixing, because if you look at the rubbish, there's people renovating homes over there. There's all kinds of stuff in there. Last week there was paint coming out of, they showed whole cans of paint in the rubbish, and the paint is going all over on the pier, leaking out of the rubbish can. So these guys are doing instead of taking it to the dump or someplace else, they're putting it right there at the pier, and then you gotta catch them on camera to get them to stop doing that. So if you look at it, sometimes even the rubbish cans, you get beds, you get ice boxes, you name it, you got it. But it's time that we take back our pier, we take back all of our public, belongs to us, our people.
Yeah. I thought they had cameras already.
Seems like it is, no, seems like it's not doing it. It's not working, I think.
If they say one, the back one, I think we can. Somebody, they're excited.
It's the nighttime legal guys, but anyway, the NER is gonna help, we're gonna put up the fund, the NER and Joe Pickett offered to partner, to come together, they're gonna put up the funds to put new cameras up in here, here. Yeah, so, we get our peer back for our people, and we get our park back for our people, that's what these public facilities is for us, the people, it's not private. So that's what we're looking at now.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky, mahalo, Uncle Cliff. Board members, anything for Auntie Rocky, Uncle Cliff? Online, none. Community in person, anything for Auntie Rocky, Uncle Cliff? Excellent. Community online, seeing none. Heiya Kia Pier, Small Boat Harbor, Tanya Bora Bora, cannot move here. Okay, moving on. Real quick, just because she wasn't able to make the meeting and she just sent me.
Passed away.
Oh, okay. Oh, we offer our condolences to Tanya and her family in this difficult time. Hopefully, yeah.
Oh, that was all good. Charity. That's all.
Any update on Popo two? On Cliff? No, I didn't even know Popo got anything, so I had to see it.
The boat's still down there.
Still down there?
They're going for high tide.
We gotta come feel an art.
Like that, they're going to the king
Okay.
tide.
We'll follow up with
You want to get and see, you gotta go down with the tank, and then you see them. You still will, but where between the sailboat and the floor.
Okay, so while we're still in city, state, federal reports, Rep. Kitagawa wasn't able to make it tonight. She did text me that she wanted me to share that the Castle Complex School Supply Drive is gonna be inside Windward Mall, Friday, July 14th, from noon to 9. Saturday, July 15th, from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. And Sunday, July 16th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It looks like some of the sponsors is Castle, Windward Mall, Kamehameha Schools, WCC, Kiwanis, Anchor Church, the Rotary, and that's, yeah, so go on down to Windward Mall if you folks want to help contribute to the Castle Complex School Supply Drive. We mahalo Rep. Kitagawa for that update. I will send the flyer to partner and hopefully we can circulate it prior to this. Okay, moving on to sub-district reports. Does anybody have a sub-district report that we didn't already go over? Auntie Rock.
District 3, okay, so talking about Tanya, her dad just passed away, and I think the funeral is coming, I think, I'm not mistaken, in August. But this past weekend, she was working with the Makai Watch, and usually they're off on weekends, the DLNR. So, I'm gonna be asking Tanya to give us an update on the Popo, the sunken boat.
Okay.
And we got like, is there right?
So we move to that, you know.
Supposed to be Tanya and the DLNR, I mean, so we'll bring it up to date, we'll ask her to bring it up to date, what's happening. But they need to get one.
Like we put a boat. So come on, then you will.
Artificial reef like the Titanic. I don't know, we'll ask her to give a report on that.
Okay.
But please do we need more Makai Watch young people.
Yeah.
To get in there and help the Makai Watch. They get shirts and stuff, but
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky. Board members, any other sub-district reports? Uncle Ken, you got sub-district report?
No, we just kind of avoided the whole thing. We're still working on it though. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Moving on, so announcements. Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, August 9th, 2023 at 7 p.m. here in this room. Oh, I'll put it, sorry, I'll put it, go ahead.
We were supposed to talk about the striping on the Bay Road.
Yeah, so he didn't show up, so he's gonna send us his information and then we'll have to, right?
Yeah, so I reached out to DTS after I sent you guys the info, like schematics and everything. I talked to DTS, the rep from DTS, his name is Layden Akasaki. I asked him to come tonight. He said he had a scheduling conflict. He couldn't come tonight, but he's willing, if you guys are willing to have it like on next month's agenda, he's willing to come, present and take feedback and everything. Also, I have his contact information and he did tell me forward it to you guys so you guys can just go with him directly also prior to next meeting.
great if they could work on that. Sign the park rather than restricting the road because we don't need people park on the road. Seems like.
And Renee Espial came out, was involved in that last meeting. We kind of reached out there, asked her because she's involved in police chiefs to help with kind of brokering a discussion between Department of Transportation Services, the city level and DOT. She left me a message today saying they don't want to be the horse, they want to be a cart. But she'll help with that, and so we're going to try and broker a discussion in this city by a road question. We're about having this DOT.
Okay.
So see where that goes.
Okay. Sorry, I think we got one resident. Oh, Michelle, go ahead. Question?
Hi, thanks. I just have an announcement to make. I'm here, my name is Michelle Simmons. I'm here on behalf of Aloha State Bicycle Racing Association. And as a courtesy, I'm announcing that the Dick Evans Memorial Road Race, which is a bicycle race, will be held on Sunday, August 27th. The race starts and ends in Hawaii Kai, and it circles most of the island. Community members may see riders on Cam Highway between 10 a.m. and noon. The riders will be coming from the North Shore toward Kaneohe. The event is permitted with the City and County of Honolulu and USA Cycling. Registration is open to the public and all interested bicycle riders are welcome. Details, including online registration links, can be found via asbra.org. That's ASBRA.org. And I would like to thank the community for your support, and we're grateful to make cycling and fitness activities available to the residents of Oahu. If there are any questions or concerns, I'm happy to do my best to answer them or relay them to the race committee.
So Michelle, I would ask actually that we could put this on our agenda for August, because this will be something that'll be concerning the traffic in our heavily saturated area, especially coming around by the pier, if you plan to go that route. Is it possible for you to drop your contact information in the chat or email it to myself or the NCO officer? So that
Sure do. And I apologize. I didn't know that this was going to be an issue. It's something that's been going on for probably.
Yeah, it's
50
no
years.
problem. We appreciate the announcement, but it is something that we like to alert our community to, because the traffic can be quite tight here in our rural spaces. So, yeah, I appreciate the announcement, but we would like to see this on our agenda or at least the flyer of sorts, to our email.
Okay.
Can I comment?
Well, 1 second, Uncle Ken, I'm gonna go in person. Member Masterson?
Oh, just, are you going through Kahikili side of that, or do you plan to go all the way along? I mean, I would just, as a rule, we say nobody, it's very dangerous to bike down on that lower road, so just need clarification.
It stays on Kahakili.
Does.
Yes.
Well, this will be a good meeting next month.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Uncle Ken?
So that was very hard to hear. So when they get to Kaikili at Hygienic Store, they stay on Kaikili until they get into Kaneohe?
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good, because that other one is, okay, thank you.
It's the Honolulu Century ride that you're thinking of that goes on Cam Highway. That's
No, they don't. They don't. Thank you.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Thank you, Michelle. All right.
Sure, thank you.
Anybody else?
I got a couple of things.
Okay, from our NCO, Papa.
Real quick, first and most important thing, this audio issue will not happen again next meeting. I guarantee it. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing, for NCO, we are doing everything we can to get meeting information out faster and more accurate as possible. So one thing we are doing is instead of waiting for the normal Olelo video archives to post the meeting, we're automatically posting to YouTube. So this meeting, today's Wednesday, this meeting should be posted at latest by Friday. Also with that, we've revamped our minutes. So it's gonna look a lot different after I create the minutes for this meeting. It's gonna look a lot different than previous meetings. But that is just, again, to make it more uniform and expedite it. Also, last thing, we are also utilizing Google Drives for all the boards. So any handouts, any information that gets delivered to the board automatically goes into the Google Drive. Google Drive link is then posted onto the minutes. So everything is succinct, everything is in order. So the general drive link will be on the top of the minutes, and any documents, whoever pertains to that document link will then be on that section of the minutes. Yeah, so again, any community members, government officials, if you guys got stuff, send it in. That way we can, the NTO can store it and archive it for the board. Oh, and then Uncle John asked about getting the footage from the Waimanalo meeting regarding LFA and CRB. I will get that out to you guys tomorrow.
Thank you for.
Go ahead, Auntie Lan.
This is Barbara. Did a good job, and I want to thank you too. I didn't need to put you in.
Oh, no.
But thank you for doing that for us for the future meeting.
Anytime.
Uncle Ken, you're last up. What's up?
Real quick, partner. There was a issue brought up of finding our resolutions, and I found them real fast because I know the website forward and backward. Could you help our executives find the link to all our not all our resolutions, but from 2007 to 22? It's on there. Just they need a little guidance going through that. And while you're at it, you might look for a bunch of other stuff. There's a gold mine. You want anything neighborhood commission office, you guys got it. So anyway, that was it. Thank you.
You Uncle Ken.
Will do.
So, again, if, I can't remember if I finished this or not, next regular board meeting is gonna be August 9th, 2023, 7 PM in this room, unless Uncle John can get us in the other room. And that is it. And I'm adjourning us at 9:49.
Thank you.
Did a good job. Very good job. Congratulations, Chair, Vice Chair.